Hey Fred,
Hey Tom, good morning. How
good
are you?
morning, sir. How are you today?
Good yourself?
Very good. Good weekend?
Yeah, it's okay. It's actually cooled down, so it's a little more, you know, reasonable weather-wise.
Yeah. So it has. And I noticed as well for you, you're usually now doing the calls from home, are you, rather than going to the kind of community college slash library area?
Yeah, they're not open at 8 o'clock, so
Ah,
can't get in at the since we've gone to the earlier time.
good. So tell me, let's dive in. Well, one, I want to quickly check back. Full stack email. Yeah. Tell me more on what is your current thinking, yeah, in this case about being a full stack email copywriter.
Yeah, I think it's a little more simpler, more of a simple way to go to enter the market rather than try to be all things to all people in terms of a copywriter.
Hmm.
Plus, it gives it sort of a overarching strategic, path.
Yeah.
So it can lend itself more to, content around that, not being order taker around, writing content, for specific jobs, but actually think about, what the reason is behind behind the item. So, yeah. So I think I can get there sooner rather than later if I stick to that sort of script.
So based on the conversation from our last call last week, as it relates to the best path and whatnot, so is that what you're leaning on now, that you're going to move forward with that? Or because I saw with your intake, as in if I just recap here, it says most of the week has been sorting through options. I've not lunged at anything, but realize I've got decisions to make to generate revenue.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, because I'm also I taking courses all the time, right? So I'm a course freak for whatever reason, and I've got two courses with AWAI, which is you're probably familiar with those guys.
Yeah. They
Um,
are reputable in the US, yeah. Know them.
Pardon me?
I know AWAI, they're a long established kind of reputable
Yeah.
organization and copy.
So I'm taking two B2B courses, and in their courses, they talk about all the different aspects of B2B doing, verbal tracks for salespeople, whatever else, case studies, all those kinds of things. And then there's another course starting today. I think it starts today. Being a B2B apprentice program, they call it.
Yeah.
So I'm working through that. And then I also have a course with them, an AI B2B um, course that is supposed to, has actually gone through it once. I've done sort of run through already, but it tells how you can use AI to increase your output of products. So you can do things more quickly by using AI stuff. You know,
Right. So
Claude
are
and
you planning on enrolling in the full stack email or have you?
yeah. Well, I'm not enrolling in Chris Davis's,
Right.
so I'm going to use his template, I guess, if you will, to make my own way.
Good.
That's my intent.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do a quick kind of focus for this call. What's the number one thing you want to get out of this call? Yeah. Now, what you shared in the original intake was, as I always, have myself prepped to go out into the world with a bulletproof mindset. But is there something specific, or more specific or different from that?
No, that's basically it. Again, I'm mindful that our time is drawing to a close, this next
Yeah,
little while.
got three. Well, this is call number 36, or sorry, 33. This is number 33, and there's 36. Yeah, that we've
Yeah.
gotten.
So
Given that, Fred, what would be the most valuable or useful thing for you in that regard?
again, just get the handle on myself because I feel like stepping away from focus sort of pulled the legs out from under me, because I was dependent on that as a means. But at the same time, I couldn't keep affording it, and I mean with my financial situation.
Yeah,
So I got to recoup
yeah,
myself.
yeah. So, and specifically for this call, then, as in, is the bulletproof mindset, what aspect is going to be most valuable? You're kind of going, Tom, as in coming in today, that would be really useful for me to focus on.
Yeah, I think I mean, just to cut to the chase, I guess, Tom. I mean, with all the coursework I've done with NLP Times, meta model, framing tool, inference, all the consulting,
Hmm.
it's like I've spent all this effort and time, and so I'm like, I'm not where I want to be, but now I can't even use that stuff uh, as I would like to have done to go the consulting path. So
Hmm.
I feel like been I'm just deflated.
Hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, what would you like to be, Fred? That's what you are at the moment. What would you like instead?
I'm like deflated.
Ah. So you want to be, yeah,
Yeah.
you want some air put back in the tires. See, I have noticed, Fred, over the last number of calls, you have typically when you come on the call, there has been a stage shift for you. Yeah. Which is that you have been more, I would describe, deflated. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you've
Oh, you've
noticed it.
noticed it?
Yeah.
You've noticed it? Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go back and you review the calls, say some of the earlier calls, midpoint, and even in terms of like the last quarter calls, and then look at the last few, that there has been a visible stage shift in you. And yeah, I think a good way of describing that is somewhat deflated. Yeah. Now, as it relates to all of this, and like if you want a bulletproof mindset and all the rest of that, I went back and I had a look, Fred, and I looked at all of the calls and all of the actions on all of the calls, and I wanted to see what was the ratio of completion to not completion. Yeah. And how performance was at different points about different elements. Now, as it relates to this aspect of, in one sense, let's just address what you just shared, which is you've done all this NLP Times training, you've done the consultancy, you've done Wicked Smart, you've done all these things. And if you believe at the moment that you can't use these skills in whether you're doing consultancy stuff or whether you decide that you want to be a full stack email copywriter, yeah, then the good news I have for you, Fred, is you are completely wrong. Yeah,
Completely wrong, you said?
completely wrong. Yeah, and I justify in terms of explain why, and that is the following: is that Fred, that all of the skills that you have learned make you far more valuable as a consultant or as a full stack email copywriter. Okay.
But they don't amount to anything if the world doesn't know that they exist, that I have them.
But here's the thing, it's not that you have them, right? I've had conversations and lots of other people who learned these skills, Fred. Just in the last week alone, with many different people in different roles in organizations and whatnot. And the one thing that is dominant and that comes up is no one cares about the framing tool, about the meta model. When Michael uses the framing tool and meta model, and he and I had a call this morning and we were talking about a whole bunch of related things, he's not coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to pull out my framing tool that I developed out of my toolkit right now and I'm going to use it with you. And the person who gets the benefit does not care. Yeah. What they measure is how does he create value for, in this case, the client. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things in part, Fred, is that worthwhile looking at how you have in places hypnotized yourself into thinking that you don't have the resources, the capabilities, or the knowledge. Yeah. Like I looked at the video you sent me of the Christian stuff and I had a glance through and then I figured out, hey, this is Fred holding the phone here. So fair Jews,
Yeah.
Fred. There's
What's
some
that?
tech tools. I said, fair Jews, there's some tech tools you could probably implement and should implement that would have saved you a lot of time holding that phone, mate. Yeah, but respect, yeah. On that side, that you're willing and you were that committed in terms of to do it.
Yeah,
But
I thought it was going to be recorded, right?
yeah,
So then I discovered it was not going to be recorded. So the only thing I had at my
yeah.
disposal was to get my phone up there. Yeah. So
Yeah. So one thing in terms of the future, there are, especially if you're attending a lot of these things, there are tools and resources you can use to capture your screen, capture your session, all the rest of that. Yeah. But in this case, what I want to highlight is that when it comes to like Christian stuff and the rest of it, and what I was sharing when I was saying, now when I said, hey, what's based on like what he presented in that and what I'd seen was going, actually, all of this is stuff that other people have done before. So I didn't see anything at that point. I didn't watch the full thing, as in from start to finish. But as I was panning around and looking at different sections and seeing how he was framing it and literally like going, oh, this is quite humorous. The way that like at one point Christian's going, there was the question, what if this doesn't work for me? Well, that's kind of like going to Harvard and going, what if Harvard doesn't work for me? And, trying to create the frame that his training was the equivalent of going to Harvard and having a Harvard, degree behind you. Um, what I want you to kind of recognize, Fred, is that it's not about whether or not people know they exist. It's about what you demonstrate when you interact with them. Okay? So, and this is true for every tool you have ever learned. And for you, Fred, I was reflecting the other night and I was thinking about you and I was going, you know what, Fred, I'm going to ask you to do is get a huge, big goddamn post-it note sign and stick it above whatever doors you need in your house and write the word believe just there on a huge post-it note. I want you to send me a photo and show me around your house where you have just believe. Yeah, right there, Fred. Because part of this is you are, as I was looking at, like even in terms of reviewing the completion rate on actions and stuff, and part of it is that you are skilled and adept at putting something in your way that either distracts you or takes you off the path. Yeah. And therefore, the path ends up being all over. And as we've discussed on a few calls, then your focus, your commitment, and the realization of your intention basically get hugely diluted and or stunted. Okay. So let me show you how the meta model and the framing tool alone, now mind the other tools, that if you apply and use, for example, if you decide to go in this full stack email copywriter, you could use those as tremendously powerful Swiss Army knives. That when you're talking with a client, as I have had many interviews and being interviewed in this case by copywriters who are going, okay, guys, what's the product? What's the campaign? What's the promotion? What do you want to do? And more often than not, what they have and what they're doing is they're taking a script that someone else has given them, usually a master copywriter who they've mentored under, who says, ask the client these questions. Yeah, like, well, what is the pain or the problem? I could give you, there's a whole bunch, about 30 questions typically that you get asked. Now, the thing is, without understanding the context and without being able to ask better questions and to be able to actually ask very precise and targeted questions in that interview process, yeah, the copywriter is not going to come away with the kinds of ideations that they need or even fragments of an idea that they can then go and create a campaign around. Yeah. But if you use the framing tool and the meta model, you are able to, like if you're asking like the origin story, if it was, let's just say we were doing language grower mastering the meta model and you were writing a campaign for us, Fred, on that. And one of the questions you might be is, Tom, I'd love to hear, if you didn't know us, like you're not Fred Fox, who has been involved in NLP for many years, but rather coming in as an external copywriter. And you're going, Tom, I'd love to hear what's the origin of, the framing tool and how that came about, or this meta model. Yeah. And then I start sharing, is going, oh, well, actually, the interesting one about the meta model, it came out of John Grinder and Richard Bandler's work. And they were looking at therapy circa 1970. And there was a big argument or discussion about everybody was fighting over who had the best form of therapeutic intervention. Yeah. And what Richard and John discovered is actually there is a structure to how effective therapists use language that create breakthroughs for their clients. And by following a particular framework, in this case, what later became known as the meta model, therapists can work with clients to be able to identify particular thought patterns and by using the meta model, help that client shift those thought patterns such that the client begins to respond in a new way. Yeah. And lo and behold, if I get into now the Shaggy Dog story, I could tell you about the impact that the meta model had. But then realized actually later on, they discovered it was a fantastic problem solving tool. It's a fantastic creativity tool. It's a fantastic consultancy tool. It's a fantastic business planning tool. It's a fantastic sales tool. Yeah. Now, if you're the copywriter, on the other side, you're going to be gone and you're thinking about what are the hooks I'm going to use for this campaign? What's the big idea for the campaign? Yeah. How do we translate this? what can we do to create a different experience that's novel in the prospective readers' minds that will instantly grab their attention, pull them in, and get them to pay attention to what the copy says. Yeah. And so as you were doing this interview by using the meta model and framing tool, you might be thinking about, you know what? That idea, like the audience you're telling me, Tom, we're interested in, is professionals and say business leaders. They they're faced by lots of problems. So can you tell me how the meta model is better than somebody just going in and asking a generic five why questions? Yeah. And now, as I get into that, you're going, holy shit. I can see that this is ways that I can deframe, if we're using LP language, the existing solutions, like using five whys, using conventional problem solving tools and why that with conventional problem solving tools, if you don't ask the right questions and effective questions, you're at danger of misframing the problem and therefore coming up with a solution that doesn't solve the problem. Now, as a copywriter, I'm thinking, there's a hook right there. I hear a pain point. I could write an email about that. Yeah. Now, do you see, Fred? And then if we're thinking about, with the framing tool, again, now with the lens of the prospect on, we're going, what is it that they value? So step into the shoes. I'm a prospect, I'm inside in a business, or like a call Michael had last week, in this case, was a particular VC related firm that were interested in doing some work. And one of the things out of there is Michael coming in on that call and thinking about, what is this guy likely to value? What does he need to hear in order for him to become convinced that the services that we offer could be potentially very valuable? Yeah. By stepping in and then putting it in the issue in focus right there and chunking up and going, what is this person seeking? What is it that they want? What's the future consequence, or from your point of view, future consequence or benefit that this particular prospect wants? Yeah. Now go back. What are the precedents, issues, pain points that prevent them from getting that? How do we create a bridge between this pain point and that solution, which ultimately is going to be our offer? Yeah, such that that client can see and begins to realize, hey, these guys are onto something. Yeah. Now, that's why, Fred, if you're taking and you keep your framing tool and meta model hat on, that allows you to be able to ask far better questions than probably 99% of copywriters who come in with a generic template, but they don't get how does question four relate to question three and how does question four connect to question 22? Yeah. And again, even if you collect all this data, now you know from a consultancy point of view, we never go in and farm up any old data. We're very pinpoint because we have a hypothesis and we're thinking about what is the answer likely to be, and therefore what information do we need. Now, does this resonate for you? Does that make sense? Is it useful, Fred, for you?
Yeah, I think I just don't give it it's just due, you know.
Yeah. But now, Fred, zoom out. I showed you before, and I don't think it landed for you at the time. I showed you using flying logic
Oh
and
yeah.
building a campaign. And actually, I think the campaign was for Wicked Smart. And thinking about the beliefs, the enabling thoughts that someone who buys this product would need to have. Yeah. And then how I reverse engineered a campaign that established and set up those beliefs for the prospective audience ahead of time before they even knew about the sales page. Yeah. Now that is straight out of using the framing tool. It's just I've laid it out visually in the context of flying logic. Yeah. And a bit of theory of constrained thinking. Yeah. So in that case, right, is that from your perspective, is that with these tools, if we're chunking up and we're going, so we have come back to strategies, right? And we have triggers. Okay, so you know that this particular audience you're going to be talking to, there are certain triggers and they have certain biases and there will be anchors. And therefore, and that's why I was saying, the concern I had with Christian stuff and from what I saw is if he thinks you just drop it into AI and you're going to get something that writes itself, you will get something that writes itself, but it could be absolute garbage. Yeah, there's a famous copywriter in the US who came up with a video sales letter. At least he's positioned that that's his thing. And as you know, the video sales letters, the VSLs for at least the previous, let's go back a decade and further, very successful, and a lot of people shifted to VSLs. Why? Because they were going, well, lots of people don't want long form sales copy that's 50 pages long. Yeah, and we can give somebody and we give them some visuals and somebody narrating usually, and we follow a similar structure as we would in a long form sales letter, but we do it in that form. And lo and behold, we have a jaded audience that has started looking at long form sales letters overhyped. Also, one of the benefits of doing a VSL versus a long form sales letter is that a long form sales letter, the person can come in and visually scan and come to a quick conclusion. But with a video sales letter, you have to wait, just like with a webinar, until I've got to that point to be able to form an informed conclusion.
Who is
Yeah.
that the writer that you mentioned?
Benson. Yeah. Do you know
Yes.
Benson? No. So
Hmm.
anyway, Benson came off and he created a tool called Benson AI. Yeah. Um,
Oh,
but anyway, I would not recommend it. That's the first thing I can tell you. I wouldn't even look at
hmm.
it. Yeah.
Really?
But yeah, wouldn't even look at it. Now, it may have improved a lot from when I saw it, but from when I saw it, frankly, it was an appalling tool. If you know anything about copywriting, I'm sure Benson would have a very different view on that. But actually, from a user's point of view, it was supposed to be promptless copy. Promptless copy is the whole idea that you would just come along and you could magically say, "Oh, I'm selling this product to children, and this happens to be a colorful lip gloss. Write me great copy." Yeah, it'll write you some generic crap for sure, but ChatGPT will do that as well. But one of the most important aspects, which you will know intimately now, Fred, is the feedback loop. There has to be feedback loops. And so it did not give a way for the user to be able to interact in such a way as going, no, that's off target. And so if you've ever had that frustrating experience of using ChatGPT to write copy and you ask it to write something and it writes it, and then you go, oh, I think we need to, get a stronger hook, and it rewrites the whole thing. And essentially it ignores and rewrites that section that was beautifully written, one paragraph that you wanted to keep. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
essentially like that. Now, with ChatGPT, if you don't know, you can use Canvas. And so with Canvas, you open up Canvas and you say, hey, this paragraph here, we need to be more shorter sentences, punchier language, evocative images. And you can do that with ChatGPT and Canvas, and you can create something and craft something that's way better. But the problem in terms of with the Benson AI related stuff with this promptless notion is simply that you just say a few words, give it a prompt, it asks you a bunch of initial questions, trying to figure out who's your target audience, and after that, it'll write you whatever you want, sales pages, emails, and all the rest of it. Yeah. And frankly, Fred, it was just garbage. Yeah. But, and the point I bring this in is because that doesn't mean using AI for copywriting is not recommended. Yeah, it can be an excellent support tool. And if you know how to train the AI right, which I spent time figuring out how to be able to do that because I was so dissatisfied with the products that were out there, that you can get much better copy, write it far quicker than you would yourself, even as an experienced copywriter. Where you really will get value, Fred, is that if you seed it, the right set of ideas, i.e., that you go and you can use frameworks with it that you expose it to or already knows, um, and it can write very good and well converting copy. But it takes a lot more work than the current dream machine people out there want to tell you. Yeah. Because from their perspective, they want all the people out there who have no skill necessarily in copywriting to go, give me your $500 per month or $500 now, and I will give you this outcome right away. And it writes perfect copy all the time. And actually, no, it's not that at all. Yeah. Because any skilled person who understands AI will tell you that it's about the tailoring. Yeah. That's where the value is created. And the same with writing copy with AI, Fred, is that you can, and I would highly recommend that you do, but that you're very aware of the limitations of the tool and you compensate appropriately so that you don't basically fall into the trap of producing generic copy that sounds bland, dull, or boring, like many other people who are using AI tools.
So when you say tailoring, it's also in the same way as seeding, right?
Sorry, the same way as which
Seeding,
seeding,
you
yeah.
say.
But like part of this is, Fred, is that And maybe I'll put together in terms of program or product. I was reflecting on that if it's out of benefit to the audience about how to be able to use AI and how to be able to get much more out of it. And there's lots of different applications. But in the copywriting context, since that's most directly relevant to this conversation, Fred, is one of it is that you have to understand the limitations about ChatGPT and other models, right? They have a token window. Basically, you could think of it as their short-term memory. Okay. So when you have a conversation, how long and how far back will it remember what you've said? And so that memory essentially is loaded up when you're having that conversation. But if you come back a few days later, and now the models are getting better, and version 5 is just about to drop. It's expected in the early half of this month, potentially any day. But with the current version, like 4 and previous versions, is it would essentially forget and bullshit you that it had recalled and referred to earlier aspects of the conversation. Yeah. So part of this is is that if you're writing copy, you one set a clear boundary up front in the copy where you're saying to the AI, hey, AI, I'm going to give you the landscape. You know, you're going to do this, you're going to be a thought partner, you're going to be an email copywriter, junior email copywriter, you can say a senior email copywriter, whatever. And what I want you to do, and then you would be thinking about, like say it's initially, I'm going to give you details. What's the product? Who's the audience? What's the avatar? Yeah. What are the current pain points? What is it that they desire? Yeah. What is it that they've already tried? Where are they bored, tired, etc. And all of this research that you would have done beforehand, you can also use the AI for to go out and do that. Yeah. But with that, you then provide that to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever tool you're using, and you say, refer to this. Now, once you've done that, I want you to help me brainstorm a campaign that has XYZ. Yeah, and it might be the initial bit. Remember, if you come back to Eugene Schwartz, Fred, you're thinking about, well, where is this customer group that we're targeting? And what is the metric for success that both you're pursuing, but that the customer, if somebody's paying you as a client, is valuing? Because even if you do a great job, I know plenty of copywriters, they say, they've come to me and said, Tom, one guy, he worked with a trader, guy was very good as a trader. This copywriter went to him based out of Singapore, said, hey, I'll write the copy for that. And the copy didn't perform against the metric that the trader valued the most. And
When you say
therefore,
trader, as in what, stock
uh,
trader?
yeah, stock trader. Yeah. But in this case, the trader was then pissed off and didn't even pay the copywriter. Yeah. And the copywriter had done tons of work. Now, part of this is the client side, Fred, which is from your perspective, is if you're going down this path, is how do you mitigate and ensure that you set up terms that are enforceable and that the person is likely to follow, and you mitigate risk, both for you and the client. Because the client is always thinking, a lot of copywriters are asleep at the wheel when it comes to the risk side. They'll say, oh, as in you pay half up front or you pay the full amount up front. And if the client has never used you before, the likelihood that they're going to take that risk on you is going to be low. If unless you have impeccable, backstory and badges and records. And I don't mean like in this case, like even with the full stack email developer or full stack email copywriter, Fred, if you go and check that, you will recognize that there's no one searching for that term directly. Yeah. So therefore, what that tells you is that's a marketing label. It's a marketing label by a company, in this case, Christian, which hats off to him as an entrepreneur. I get where he's coming from. But my interest is looking out for your interest in this regard. And looking out from your interest, I'm going, even if you have this, how is that of value in the marketplace? Does the marketplace recognize it? Lots of companies offer code certifications, but nobody who's on the recruiting side is valuing those certifications, either because they don't know about them, or even if they are, from good reputable organizations, etc., is that no one knows how that differs from another type of certification. And therefore, even though to get this more valued certification, more expensive certification, it is not perceived as value differentiating from an employer's point of view. Yeah. To use a HR related thing, you might know that, for example, PMI, the Project Management Institute, offer a Agile Project Manager certification. And the Scrum and Scrum Alliance people, they offer a Scrum qualification. You become a Scrum Master. Now, to get a Scrum Master, it costs you about, I think, $99, and you've got to do maybe 100 questions. Yeah. And it's a much easier exam with a lot less prep work. to get a Project Management Institute Agile certification, it is months, many months of study, of prep, of doing hundreds and hundreds of questions. The exam is it's not something you can just do from home. You have to go to an exam testing center. It's a closed book and blah blah blah. Yeah.
Have you done it? Have you done
Yeah, I've done both for it. Yeah. And so when I was looking in terms of at
it?
that and looking in the marketplace, that was because I was looking to introduce processes into my teams and the teams that I was working with in tech companies. But the reason I bring that in is because to an external recruiter or a hiring manager, they aren't going to be aware that the Project Management Institute, their Agile Manager certification, which when I got it, it was one of the first ones, one of the first people to get that. Yeah. But it wasn't something that the marketplace was aware or was asking for. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, my rationale in terms of getting that was because I wanted the expert knowledge, and that was by far the best that I had seen of a comprehensive system that really did go to town on looking at it from every different angle. Yeah, and wasn't just a niche Scrum Master qualification. And the reason I bring this to you is because one, as I said, cheeky, provocative way is what stops you from calling yourself a full stack email copywriter right now? And the answer is, what do you think, Fred? Because what matters is not what I think, it's what you think.
Well, I think the answer is nothing.
Exactly. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. Because it's not even a coined term yet. Now, the term full stack marketer is, and that came out in about 2013. Yeah. And that essentially is someone, there was a fair call back then, it was like two different people were pushing the idea, but basically became a bit more popular. And then later years, like in the 20s, I'm talking 2020 onwards and post-COVID, we had the whole notion of a fractional, a fractional CMO, a CTO, a fractional potential email copywriter. And you can also call yourself that too. And so what you want is that essentially what those labels do is they act as boxes, generalizations that a recruiter or an employer can look at and they go, oh, he's that. And if he's that, then these other things must also be true. Yeah. And so from your
Mm.
perspective, it's a short code way of saying, yeah, I know marketing, or yes, in your case, I know email. Yeah. And so bringing this in terms of round again, Fred, for you in the context of getting the bulletproof mindset is one is realizing what are the labels that people are using that they are valuing, and is it valued in the marketplace? Two is if nothing stops you right now, and nothing does, by the way, then what you are saying is that the skills behind that, that you feel confident and capable that you can deliver that. And the good news is, for most of the people you're talking to, I suspect if you're talking about early clients, Fred, they don't know much about email copywriting either. Yeah, in the sense of being able to assess you. And therefore, as long as you're able to, like Christian showed, look, get on a call. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's how I build it out. Or here's, I've had some thoughts and these are my initial ideas. Yeah. The very fact that you showed up prepared, yeah, because unfortunately, a lot of copywriters are complete amateurs. Yeah. They've never had, like you, Fred, a professional corporate career. Where if you just wandered into work one day and decided maybe I'll, do some HR stuff today, maybe I won't attend that HR disciplinary meeting, or, I'm going to spend any time this week recruiting and vetting candidates. That
Mm.
kind of behavior wouldn't be tolerated for 2 seconds. Yeah. But in the email copy space, because a lot of them are solo copywriters, there's no one that holds them to account in that way. And that's why you have such a high turnout in the sense of churn in the email copywriting space. And I would imagine AWI probably have a program about professionalism and how to be a great email copywriter. Yeah, around the client handling and client preparedness aspects. Yeah. So as it relates to all the other stuff, if you think about, okay, what are the biases? What are the anchors? How can I trigger stuff? How do I prime and seed stuff? How do I tell stories? All of the skills, yeah, you can build in. And I even know in terms of, again, from like my own audience and when I've written copy and I've gone head to head with copywriters we've hired as part of the test, because I understand this space deeply and that I am able to generate copy that outperforms by many margins, oftentimes as a percentage on offers and programs that we're doing. I have a significant advantage over someone who doesn't know this space. And so, therefore, and the reason I
So when
bring
you
this,
say this space, just when you
yeah,
say this speak, this space, you mean?
Yeah.
The NLP with time space, the
NL,
seal.
well, NLP, and if I was also interested in terms of self-development. Yeah. So NLP is a smaller subset within personal development slash self-help. Yeah.
Okay.
But because I've lived in that world for as many now decades as I have seen basically lots of things come and go. I've seen the pitches, the angles, and I have, as always, from very much from day one, always been very thorough in doing surveys, getting information, talking with customers. Like earlier this year, I'm not sure if you got an email, but I know in terms of a campaign went out for a certain segment of the group, Fred, um, which was saying, hey, um, along the lines of, hey, Bob, yeah, you are one of our best customers. Yeah. And Michael and I are looking at future programs to create. And we were interested in what have we not yet offered that would help you solve your most pressing problem right now. Yeah. Hit reply and let me know. And that was targeted in this case. Actually, I don't believe you were on in terms of that as I'm going through mine in terms of who was in that segment group. But on that particular one, Fred, is because it's about externally getting information because most people are inside their heads and they think that they've got a good idea, but they don't go and verify and validate it with the market and figure out what does the market want. Because ultimately, as you know, the person with the money, the customer, they get to decide. Their opinion is most important. And even like, in this last week, you probably know Eben Pagan, do you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Eben and any out of Eben has a successful business, what you call it, in the dating space. He was written under a pen name, built a successful information publishing company.
Mhm.
But I'm looking here at an email he sent out at the weekend, and it has helped me build exactly what you want! Exclamation mark. Yeah. And I'll read you out a little bit here. Hey there, I've got a quick question for you. What if we could create exactly what you need most right now for your business? What if we could create exactly what you need most right now for your business and personal growth? Now, that's a clunky question. Yeah. But in essence, hey, what if you could create exactly what you needed most now for your business and personal growth? There should be a comment there. And then it says, Annie, his partner and I are planning our next big project for 2025. And instead of guessing what might be helpful, we want to hear directly from you. Whether you're a seasoned coach, because this is on a coaching list, or just getting started, or an entrepreneur, author, or teacher. That's the dog whistle copy. Or someone in between.
What
This
was
is
that
the
dog with?
dog whistle.
Would you
You know,
say?
dog whistle
No.
copy.
No.
Okay, so dog whistle copy is, and you'll have seen this many times on our sales pages, is that it is calling out it. Yeah, when you that's the dog whistle. In the form of copywriting, that is where at the top you very much clearly target, yeah, this is for. Okay, so it would be calling all NLPers, coaches, and
Okay.
hypnotists.
So you set the frame.
Yeah, or it could be more specific, calling all entrepreneurs who are doing 5 million or more in revenue. Now, what a good dog whistle copy will do is it'll reject everyone below that threshold. Yeah, by its very
Okay.
nature. It'll also make those that are below that envious and going, what's the secret that those guys who are doing 5 million are getting? Yeah.
Hmm.
And then it would be like calling all entrepreneurs who are doing 5 million or more in revenue. Yeah. Are you tired of seeing your profits go down, yet your revenues go up? Are you frustrated by the fact that the more people you brought onto your team, the less autonomy and control of your own time you have? Yeah. This Friday at 3 p.m., me and Bob, yeah, who's built X number of businesses, are putting together a 90-minute workshop where we're going to reveal the exact process that we have gone through to go from 1 to 250 million in revenue. Yeah. Enter your name and details below. Have some bullets, whatever other compelling pieces. That is dog whistle copy right at the top with a very clear, targeted frame of reference that is, again, framing tool, high value to that particular audience based on chunking down, looking for specific examples on the framing tool of listing, in this case, two different pain points, which connect back to precedents, issues that are recurring themes that, if they're sustained, creates this undesirable thing in the future. Yeah. Hence, we might go, P.S. If you're stuck at 5 million and you haven't been able to get to the breakthrough of 20 to 30 million where you have real freedom, independence, and time, then do not miss out on this opportunity. This will be a live, non-recorded event. The only way you get access to knowledge is getting in on this webinar. Enter your details below or above. Yeah,
Okay.
that. Now that's what we're talking about. But in this case, back to the email. So whether you're a seasoned coach or just getting started or as an entrepreneur, author, or teacher, or somewhere in between, yeah, so that's the catch-all for everybody else. Your input will shape what we build over the next 6 to 12 months. We've put together a short survey, in brackets, takes about 2 minutes, that asks about the biggest challenges, what formats work best for you, and what you'd love to see us create. Then call to action. Take the quick survey here. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to share your thoughts. Your answers really do matter, and we read them. Yeah, and then sign off, and then PS. And this, this course is for those that just go to the bottom of an email, but also a chance to resell whatever it is that the CTA is. If there's something specific you'd wish existed but doesn't, this is a reframing of the more complicated question at the top. This is your chance as a link to tell us about it. And also feel free to just hit reply to this email and talk to me if you want to get something specific. Okay? Now,
Yeah.
with that one, is it leads directly to a survey, Fred. Okay? And I'm going to show you the survey here so you can
Okay.
see. Okay? Now, let me know when the screen shows for you.
See it. Yeah.
Yep. So now here, what should we create in the next 12 months? We're dreaming up some next big project, blah, blah, blah. Which of the following best describes you? Okay. Classify who it is you're talking to. What types of offerings are most interested in? Again, selecting the relevant ones, the ones that they're thinking, and of course, the most important, other. Yeah. And then what we want to create, what you want, or what, or who, or what would you like to see more from us in the next 12 months? Then with this, if we partnered with trusted experts to bring you new programs and products, which topics most excite you? I.e., what else can we put in our pipeline to increase our lifetime value and potentially average transaction size? Yeah. And then what specific challenges? Now, note it isn't a generic question. What is a specific challenge you're facing right now in your business or your personal growth? And then what format? I.e., okay, now I have an idea of what you're looking for. I know a little bit about who you are. I know what kind of things you're interested in. I know what you want to see more from us in the next 6 to 12 months. I have a good idea about what kind of products you think that I can go to my affiliate manager and say, hey, get me more of those. Or we might even, if we were running this business, run this product, create these products ourselves. What's the specific challenge here as a catch-all? The more specific they are, the more useful that will be as an answer. What format do you want it? Meaning if we give it to you as a live event, as a recording. What's your typical budget for this program or training? And that truly matters to you. And then here we go. Yeah. And now we have, if we could wave a magic wand, the universal question, and have us build one thing just for you in your business, what would that be? Anything else? Yeah. Now, each one of these, Fred, is once populated, will give Eben and his team potentially hundreds or thousands of answers, depending on how many people are getting this. Um, tremendously useful information for him then to be able to do a follow-up survey. If, for example, there's, let's just say it's full-time coaches and they're most interested in coaching and transformation, and they're most interested in getting a collaboration between Eben and Annie, and the thing that they're most interested in is AI. Right? Now, Eben can be thinking about, all right, I'm going to put together a program and I'm going to do AI. And how can I take everything I've learned about what coaches experiences, frustration, problems, pain points, and come up with a curriculum that AI would be able to solve?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then, and by the way, I mention that because I also know that Eben has done something like that. Yeah. But the point with this, Fred, is that you're seeing how, again, it's getting out of your head. It's getting into the market. It's getting intel. So, like, if you are working with, say, a business like ours or some other business as a full stack email operator, and you're thinking from a strategic point of view, you would be saying, hey, when's the last time you've taken a poll from your list about what they value, what they need, what they're looking for? Most businesses are going to go, we can do that, or never. Yeah. And you go, look, if you want, I'll be happy to put a 3 email campaign together and a quick in terms of survey and to come up with, in this case, help you come up with what new products or things you should be implementing. Yeah. And then if there's something there that looks viable, we can talk about making that now you're doing, remember in tier one consulting, it's yum, 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 deeper into the organization, creating more value. And then you go, hey, we've done this survey here, and what you call it, what they're looking for is a membership solution. They're looking for XYZ. I can help you position that, frame it, write the copy, and do the emails. Yeah, and here's what the cost would be. Now, if you were being a bit savvy, you could say, look, and again, if you ask the price point, customers right now are saying that they probably pay for up to $500 for a solution like this. How many people have you got on your list? Let's just do some numbers, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's an extra 100,000 in revenue. Yeah. And your fees are 10 grand. Or it could be to do this, my fees are 4 grand initially, and then a percentage, which is what a lot of copywriters do, and we've paid a percentage of the profits from the sale. Yeah. Which could easily be another 4 or 10 or more grand. Yeah. And then you do that and you're going, cool. Now, um, do you have someone who helps you put out campaigns every month so that you're putting offers in front of your best customers? No? Cool. I can help with that. Do you know who your best customers are? No. Ah, I can help with that. Yeah. If you give me access in terms of your system database, I can pull down this information. I can help you qualify, identify who are the top 50, 100, whatever it is, customers that you have, and we can create a tailored offer for them. The great things about obviously your best customers are they don't need a lot of persuading as there is to be able to buy from you because they already believe in you and what you offer. Therefore, you can offer them potentially a much higher ticket priced item, like how does $2,000 for a program sound or $5,000? What? You mean we could actually charge somebody that? Yes. Yeah. And now you're going, you don't need to sell too many of those to be into some serious bank for a small business. Yeah. So let me ask you, Fred, are you now seeing and connecting, and is this of value for you?
Yeah, so my next question becomes, who do I contact to do that kind of work, to do that kind of, strategy, that program? I mean,
Well,
because
which,
I don't
to
have a
learn the
robust email
skills or to sell it?
to sell it.
Yeah. Well, from that point of view, it comes back to backing up. Remember, we always back up, we backtrack and go, okay, that's where we want. If we want to go here, what has to happen in order for that to happen? Right?
Yeah.
So then the key question is, okay, again, as a copywriter, referring back to what I said earlier on the call, you can't be everything to everyone. Yeah. So you want to actually niche and specialize in particular types of businesses or markets. Why? Because your ability to get up to speed. Now, it's a lot easier with AI than what it was, but is that the deeper you understand the market and how they think and what they want, which hopefully you've figured out either because you're in the market yourself as a prospective buyer, or that you have done a lot of other client conversations, work that's given you deep knowledge about that particular marketplace. If not, the only other way of getting there is you going and doing the homework. And how do you do the homework? You do the research. But again, with deep, excuse me, deep research tools, Fred, like um, ChatGPT, Gemini, and now there's some new ones that are coming out with wide research, what they're calling wide research, new AI tools that go wider rather than deeper and see patterns across time over longer time periods, etc. With those tools, you then get good at writing the prompts that go and do the research, that then you distill and synthesize and have it synthesized so that you begin to get that deeper understanding about the audience. And so one of the best ways, obviously, is you can go to Amazon, look at the reviews. You can either use tools automated or do it yourself manually, and you're going, what are the pain points on this? Yeah, find a popular book. Let's just say you're targeting um, selling to B2B. And so you go on and you're looking at B2B sales related books and you're looking at what are the recurring themes and patterns that are showing up directly there. Yeah. And then you create an index of here are the pain points and issues. Yeah. A popular one is gatekeepers. How do you get past the gatekeepers? Yeah, etc. Another one might be how to sell high ticket, like 7 figure plus contracts and deals into B2B. Yeah, etc. And so you start mapping this out. Now, as it relates to finding the customers, Fred, is once you figure out, and the figure out basically means one, you discover, and two is you decide. Yeah. So you think about where your strengths are, what you know, what you can do. You look at where are their pain points. There has to be demand out there. If there isn't demand, you've got to generate demand. That requires education. Education takes time. That costs money. It also adds delay to generating sales. So from there, you're in a position where you then decide and say, this particular niche, this vertical, or this section of an industry, I'm going to target. Then you're looking at, okay, who are the businesses that already are doing stuff? Great place to look is Facebook, yeah, ad library, or elsewhere. Anyone who is spending money on ads is someone who gets marketing, at least at some level,
Hmm.
yeah. And so they're spending money to get customers. So, and being in a position where you're able to reach out and say, hey, Bob, my name's Fred. I'm a full stack email operator. That means that I help out with developing the strategy and implementing the full campaigns for taking people who don't know you to being customers who buy and buy more from you more frequently. Yeah, that's the kind of framing you might use. I noticed that you've been running ads for XYZ on your thing. And if you've done your bit of homework, if you really like taking the level of prep, you've already got on their newsletter, their email list. Yeah. Because you want to know what are they doing that's good and what is it that sucks. Because if they're already doing good, it's going to be tough for you to outperform that. But if what they're doing sucks, even if what you were offering is average, it's better than sucks. Yeah. And so you can be confident that you really can deliver value. And so you could say, as in, look, a full stack email copywriter, this means that I noticed that you're running in terms of this at the moment. I work with companies that are looking to increase their conversions from Facebook, whatever platform you saw them on. And then you're making terms of a pitch line. Yeah, I'd be happy to do a risk-free consultation call, 15 to 20 minutes. I'm happy to share some of my best ideas with you about how you can increase conversion. Answer any questions that you've got. If you'd be interested in terms of doing that, please hit reply or you can click directly here and you can make a booking. I promise you, I'll not waste any of your time. I'm sure you're already really busy. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just ask you something. Last night I was putzing around on ChatGPT, thinking how I could generate revenue quickly, right? So we we worked, yeah, I came up with this through ChatGPT, an idea of going to companies and doing just a quick $97 makeover, just to examine what their copy looks like right now, what their
Yep.
marketing message is, who do they want to reach. Is it viable? Could it be improved? And just give my feedback for a $97 assessment.
Yep. And what were your thoughts on that, Fred?
It seemed viable, but I don't know if it's, perfect. I mean, I would have to, test it out, right?
Yeah. So
And
anytime, yeah, you're thinking about an idea like that, is one you're saying, does anyone else already offer that? Is the precedent? Yeah. Be- Because if not, in terms of it's new, but with that one is that, yeah, potentially it could be viable. If we're jumping right to the punchline here, is it's a prototype, it's a test. Yeah.
mhm, yeah,
Like essentially, and that's what I'm saying, Fred, like the universe of great programs, products, ideas, frameworks are all with you at the moment. You have tons, more than, and frankly, you're likely to need. Yeah. As in true just the NLP time stuff. Never mind all the other stuff I know that you've done with other people. But if you apply like that one and go, okay, in order for that to be true, and here's where, if you're just bringing a consultancy mindset, what else has to be true? What are critical success factors for that to be true? Now, one of them might be is that one is that obviously there's demand, yeah, for that service, or there would be if you offered it. Two is that you could deliver that service at a cost that is less than the time it will take you to implement it. Yeah.
say that again,
That
please.
you would be able to implement this service at a cost that is less than the cost it will take for you to implement it. So, for example, if I think about, okay, we've got to reach out, we've got to find this target business, reach out to them, prep some communication for them, do some homework probably first, so it's not just a complete moonshot blindly. Hey, you're on the internet, I offer this. And then you have to go through however many, what do you call it, folks like the conversion ratio of how many people don't respond versus do. Yeah,
Yeah.
then get a conversion, then go and deliver the service for anyone that you sign up. Then do whatever analysis that you do, as in looking at copy, and then write a report or give an email or whatever the medium is that you use to deliver said value. Yeah. Now, if we target how much time does it take for those five things and go, how much time would I need? What would you ballpark that as in terms of time? How much do you think for those five? If you were quick off the top of your head, ballparking how much time in hours would be needed for that?
Probably, I don't know, 2 to 3.
Okay, 2 to 3. So 2 to 3, if you can do that in 2 to 3, that would be very, very efficient. Okay. But let's just say that you're right. Okay. And this is where you stress test the idea in one sense beforehand. And actually, the way to do that, Fred, would be all right, as in, like, pick a website out there that you're targeting and that you're going to offer. Okay? They don't know about it, but you're treating it just like they were a client. Yeah? And then you
Mhm.
go through each step of the process and figure out how long would it take you to deliver each piece to get a realistic number when you are at the moment not skilled at running the whole process, meaning you haven't done it enough times to really like, oh yeah, I can do this and I can do a quick hack there and blah, blah, blah. And then look at what that number is. Now, if you could do it in 3 hours, that would be really good. That would be very fast. But let's just say it is, and we divide that by 97. So now, what's your revenue that you're actually getting from that per hour?
Well, it'd be less than 90. It would be less than 97.
Yeah. Well, you got your transaction fees. So depending, you talk 2 to 3%. So like if we do a quick calculation here, right? So 97, yeah. And then if it's 3%, that's, we'll call it rounded up to $3. So now we're down $3 for processing fees with our per merchant like PayPal. At the moment, we're assuming you've got fixed costs. We're going to make it simple, meaning you've got your website, you've got your CRM. We're not going to include those at the moment. Um, but then let's just say off the top of that, tax, right? That ultimately will have to be paid on that. And I
Mhm.
don't know, is it 20, 30%? What do you think is likely? I know obviously it depends on how much income, but if you're ballparking in the US, what does it start at? Is it 20% on the low side?
I mean, from the state of Maryland, where I am, it's six
Yeah.
percent sales tax. So there's sales tax, and then yeah, 20%. Let's say 20%.
So say that's 26 in total between sales tax and what you have to give the tax man at the end of the year for what he wants, his cut for the services that you provided. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
That's 26. So now we're talking 97 minus, minus 3, which is the transaction charge with PayPal or Stripe, and then minus 26, which is your tax plus your sales tax. And now we're down to 68. Now that's the gross top line,
Mm,
talking $22.66 per hour. Yeah.
yeah,
Now, here's the thing, is that then you're going, if you can, and the key one is you can do it in 3 hours, because if it's 68 and let's say it takes you 5 hours, now we're down to $13.60, yeah, per hour.
hmm
Now, if you've no money coming in, 13.60 is good news, or 22, yeah, at least initially. But you can see how that one extra hour seriously alters the economics. Yeah.
right.
And now, what could be useful and would be potentially interesting is going, all right, what kind of scale would I need in order to make this worth my while? How many 97s would I need? Yeah. And potentially, if you could do something like you may remember, there is a website called 99 Designs. And then I think there was others looking to bring out 99 copywriters. Yeah. Do you know 99 Designs?
Yeah. Well,
Okay. So let's just go and find 99 Designs. Let's see what they're up to here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, oh, I'm still, yeah, no, let me just see here, Fred. So this is 99 Designs. Ah, and right now it recognizes I'm in the UK, so it's showing me a UK one, so that's new. But let me just get this page here and share. Do, 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 do. So 99 Designs, Fred, is this one here. And what they do and what they are, now they've changed it, they're looking a bit more professional, but essentially what you could do, see, they've been bought out by Vista since I started using them many years ago.
ah,
But you would come here and you could post a project and you say, I want a logo for a t-shirt. Yeah. And what you do Let's go t-shirt and keep it simple and click generator design. And now what they'll show is they at the time would send that out on an open forum, a bit like Upwork, and people would go and create designs. And the idea was that you would have, if you were lucky, 99 different designs already mocked up for you, and potentially a lot more than that. And you would only choose the winning design, and you'd only pay the winning designer.
Mm,
Yeah. And the other 98, they got nothing. But with this one, I'm gonna just see down on prices, you can see that they have packages for t-shirt designs. Yeah. So this right now is bronze, 189 euros in this case. You get design concept approximately 30, 100% money back guarantee, and you get full copyright. Down here, you're getting for 759, 50, but you're working with top designers only.
mm,
Yeah. Now, if we come back to your idea, is that if you're doing that, Fred, what in order for that to scale, what potentially could be valuable and useful for you is that either you implemented, which you couldn't have done like 2 years ago, an AI solution, an AI stack that as soon as you feed in AI, go check out nlptimes.com, yeah, do these assessments, write me a report, give me this copy, yeah, and then generate the report. Now, even if it takes 2 hours for that, but it wouldn't for an AI, you would be able to deliver a work product that you would maybe review and make sure that it actually is all good. Um, and you could do that for a fraction. And now you would take your $94, yeah, or 68 after taxes, and you're going, it only cost me $5 of compute time. That's it. Now your economic picture has changed dramatically. And the vendor, in this case, the employer, the company, say it was NLP Times that you're working for Fred. We don't know and we don't care. Yeah. What we care about, I don't mind as long as you're giving me good work product. I don't care if you used an AI tool or a human being to do that. What I care
mm,
about is you give me bankable copy that will improve my engagement or whatever. And like you could even offer different services, Fred. You could say, as part of your consultation, the hook is it's 99 bucks. But when you get on the call, you say, look, our entry level thing is 99, and we'll look at one page of your site or your homepage or whatever, because the whole site would be enormous. Um, and we'll give you a critique. And then you say, can we ask you a few clarifying questions? So, what is most important for you that you would like to see increased? Because we have dedicated packages that are focused. If you're all about engagement, well, we have an engagement package that's 189. Now, 99.9% of that is the exact same process you go through. Except when you do your lens of filtering, you're going, I'm specifically interested in what's going to drive or increase engagement. Yeah. And because that has higher value to the end customer, you can afford to charge more.
mm,
Yeah. So now you could, just like these guys, like 99 Design folk who have a bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, you could say, yeah, 99 is our bronze. It'll give you a quick assessment. We'll give you 5 different things to improve or blah, blah, blah. And by the way, if you need people to implement and make those changes, you have a relationship with a third-party company that does web design stuff. And that person could be Bob and Mary in their basement. And you say, Bob and Mary, you work for me, right? You're an associated contractor, but you're working for Fred Fox Designs. And I will sell to the vendor. If you'd like us to make the changes, you give us your login credentials to WordPress or whatever you're using, and we will go ahead and make those changes for you. So now, oh, and you want that done? That's depending on the scope of the changes. If it's five, you might say that's another $149. Yeah. So now you're looking at how you're increasing the average transaction, which could go from, like, if we look at this, Fred, to 189 for the engagement package. So you're looking at one page, but improving engagement, and 149, that's 338. And if you're going, well, sales tax on top, you'd have to pay the 6%. But as a business, that's fine. And I don't know if it's the same here, but businesses can get tax back on what they call VAT sales tax here.
mm. Yeah,
So
wait on.
yeah, but if it is that, and we take the three, and you're now left with $335, right? So it's 338 for those two kind of packages together, and minus the $3 transaction cost or whatever it is. Actually, it'll be a bit more, but we'll leave it at that. Um, Let me just minus that. And now let's just say you pay a flat fee to Mary or Bob and Mary of $100 to make 5 changes. Yeah. Now, Fred, you are left with $235. Yeah. And $235, you can make some nice bank and could be doing six figures definitely. Yeah. If you've implemented a process, whether it's AI or something else, that dramatically cuts down the amount of manual time you have to spend looking at things. Now, if you were interested in something like that, the key thing is to prototype. And the first step is going, okay, I'm going to go on to Facebook, I'm going to go on to whatever, I'm going to see a site that's spending some money, go into Facebook ad library, find somebody, then look at their page, then do a quick assessment manually and just see how long does that take. Yeah. And then if you want, you can directly put your full stack email marketing or email copywriting skills to the test and write a campaign, could be three emails or whatever, or five, that goes to particular companies that reaches out and say, hey, I offer this service. Yeah.
So how would I do that? Right. So I would have the AI gin up a three-step email process
Yeah.
as an example.
You could, but at this stage, I'd encourage you, Fred. Well, it depends what you're optimizing for. If you're optimizing for speed, sure. Like right now, I could have ChatGPT, I give it a criteria, give it a prompt, and have it do stuff. Um, and potentially, if you're being smart, you can go to the AI and you build a agent directly in ChatGPT or Claude, and you say, "Hey, you are the agent. This is," and you say, "Like this is what I want you to do," and then you're able to come back to the agent and go, "Okay, I want you to review this business web page for this company, and then I want you to take our template of whatever we've agreed are the three emails that you're going to write, and I want you to tailor it based on what you're seeing that's pertinent and relevant from this site." Yeah.
Yeah.
And then output. Now, the only extra step, if you are afraid, and now, like, I know if you're following, like, with um, what do you call it? It's called Comet. Yeah, Perplexity Comet. Do you know about
Hmm.
Perplexity Comet? Okay, so
I know perplexly, but not comment.
yeah. So, and there's another one like there's Dia and there's Composite. Okay. So, for example, um, Perplexity Comet is essentially a AI agent that you can go and it will do tasks for you to browse the internet, it'll do research, yeah, and other actions. Now, what again, I'm just looking at and building out for you in my mind, how could we turn this into a revenue generating opportunity that brings bank in, that minimizes the amount of human hours that you have to do, that creates value for the marketplace. So after you've got your three emails, and all you would potentially at that point come in and say, today's company is nlptimes.com. Go and have a look, give me those three emails. Once they're written, ideally, if you want to remove all the bottlenecks, as in as it relates to execution, or at least greatly reduce them, is that you would also have it pass that information into your CRM and deploy the emails. Yeah. And even schedule. You could even give the agent, I want you to schedule that the emails always go out at Monday at 8:30 a.m. or whatever. If we haven't heard a reply back, and go into the CRM, see if the person has clicked, has they visited a page or whatever the CTA is, then schedule, and you could even build this out, a follow-up email that goes out at Wednesday at 4 p.m. Yeah, followed by one further email Monday the following week at 2 p.m. Because
This would be presuming that if they engaged for that offer, that would be set up through their CRM.
well, no, right now this is just you trying to land the client.
Okay.
Yeah. But like let's say you were hired by me in this case to work for NLP Times to do something, Fred. Then in that case, you would be going, you're again looking, okay, you spend the time figuring out manually how long it would take you to do something like this. So that you have a proxy for yourself as a human being, what effort is involved, how easy or is it not?
Yeah.
Because if you, a human being with your skills, can't do this to a high standard that creates value, then the AI is unlikely to be able to do it either. Yeah. So, and also for you to understand, because at some point you might hire somebody else to babysit these projects, and you want a proxy to know yourself what does it actually take to deliver this business model. Yeah. But after that, then going to a ChatGPT, Claude, creating an agent, giving it, come up with brainstorm a campaign with me. We're targeting this. Yeah, come up with the best framing. Once you get that locked in, okay, they're the templates. These are known as templates one, two, and three. Yeah. Now, when I give you a prompt and I say, write me a new campaign for enter website name. Yeah, nlptimes.com. Then it knows because you have trained it. And that just means you've given it instructions in the background, which are saved as part of ChatGPT, to automatically go and generate template one, template two, template three after the AI has gone, looked at nlptimes.com, figured out salient information, and then use that in the email. So each email is different, as in for each client, prospective client. Yeah. And then the cherry on top is now once those emails are written, go and plug that, deploy that into my CRM and schedule it to go out automatically on Monday morning. Follow up on Wednesday if we haven't had a call to action. Follow up on the following Monday. Yeah. And then if you really wanted, Fred, on that, and I know now it might be in terms of blowing your mind on this, but I just want you to see the bigger picture, is that you could also have the AI then also update Google Sheets with a line item that says, here are all the clients or prospective clients we've contacted over the last week, and what is their current status? Yeah. And so it would automatically go to Google Sheets and it would put in, prospective client, Monday, 4th of August, NLP Times, niche that they're in, NLP self-help. Yeah. What are they active? Yes, we've active. When does the campaign finish? It finishes on whatever the 9th or 10th of August. Yeah. And then did we get success or not? And it could do all that for you. Okay. And so I'll briefly show you here, and then I want to make sure that, well, first let me just pause. Are we hitting this for you as it relates to you seeing possibilities and this being directly valuable to what you want to get out of today, Fred?
Yeah. So again, I devil's in the details, right, as they say. So, I mean, yeah, I have to spend some time getting this worked up and worked out, but that should not take that long, I wouldn't think.
No, it won't, Fred. As in, if you go about it the way that I'm talking about, then the answer is no, it won't. Yeah, you will be able to do it quick. There potentially is, and this is what I'm saying, Fred. When you get the idea, you want to prototype, get it out there, do a test. You might quickly realize, like, let's just say you do it and you go, Shiza, it took me 8 hours to do that. Now, the good news is that wasn't a bad use of 8 hours. You learned a lot about what you can get done and what it will realistically take. And then you go, hold it, if I'm only getting 68 bucks, in this case, if it's 68, if it's a simple package that you're just selling kind of the base package, and it took you 8 hours, that was $8.50 of gross profit. That's you haven't paid your personal tax on it. Yeah, you'll have
Mhm.
paid whatever corporate tax, but and
Yeah.
so you go, that's way too low. Yeah, or whatever. But
Hmm.
this is where you're able to quickly test the idea. And so, like, I can go, let's just go here. Okay. So I'm going to show you a tool here. Is that okay? Now, um, so, and the key one is at the moment, stepping aside for a moment the detail, although I've given a lot of detail here at the moment about the exact step by step. So literally, if you play this back, you'll have a playbook, Fred, that you could deploy right away to absolutely test this idea. But I want to show you a tool called Dia. Okay, so this is Dia. Okay, now Dia is a browser. And it's known, it's part of a company that's successful for other browsers, but it's one of the first browsers, and this was a private thing. But if you're interested, I could, I'm sure, share you a link because I actually have links to share to friends or clients, whatever. But with this one, is I can come here and I can have a chat directly with the AI in real time about this site or any aspect of it. So I can go right now and then tell me what this site is about. Yeah. And what are its strengths from a copywriting perspective. Now it's thinking, it's going on here, and here we go. And it's automatically pulling out information directly relevant. Yeah, if I make this page bigger, Fred, you will see. Now you might go, but Tom, isn't what you call it, isn't this like ChatGPT? And yes, in a way it is, but what this is the future of browsing, Fred, where you're having a navigation around and I can go like here and now this is a little, and I might go, let's just go in on this article here. Yeah. And I can go, all right, so I might go, um, did you summarize this article in one paragraph. Okay. And now, as I'm having a conversation about any aspect, it can do that automatically and it tells me about this guy. Okay. Now I can go, like, once you understand the key ideas here, and I can select that, right? Note when I select it, Fred, it shows up here as selected. And I can
Yeah.
ask, what do you think the author is referring to here? Or what would be some good ideas that we could build a marketing campaign off of if I wanted to engage this business as a copywriter? Okay. And I'm talking to my computer as I'm doing that because it's much quicker. And now here, psychological, neurological process, interpret information, beliefs form. And now here are some strong marketing campaign ideas to build your concept. And automatically it's going upgrade your reality campaign, the Belief Architect series. Yeah. Now imagine, Fred, that you didn't know me and you were on some of these pages, or you gave the AI prompt to go and find me relevant ones, and you send me an email and saying, Tom, I was on your site recently and I really enjoyed your article, $120,000 mistake that nearly cost him his freedom. I thought it was really good, novel, give the prompt to find something to compliment. And I'm a copywriter and I would really love, I see that you've got products and I was looking at what you're offering and I was thinking that we could offer you a Belief Architect series. Yeah. Now, if you've already got copywriters and you're really happy with what they're doing, no problem. But if you are interested in someone who can write full stack email copy and develop the strategy and write the campaigns and deploy all that and deliver bankable benefits, I have a number of ideas around campaigns that I'd be happy to discuss with you. Now, do you see how long it took me? And I haven't even read any of this, as in that, to be able to get the information. Yeah. Now I
Amazing.
can go read more here, right? That's that one link. Actually, literally the site has been migrated over the weekend, so I could see a glitch. But if we come in and you can come to, let's just go down here. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Let's go about us. That link, I'm going to have to get in touch with the team. There we go. But at the moment, Freddie, you can come in and you can give a tailored prompt directly to this one. So you can go to Twitter, LinkedIn, and there is a famous article, which in this case was there's a what's his name? Graham something. Here's the skill. So this chap, Graham Duncan, I don't know if you know what's happening
Mm.
with this human. Do you know that article?
No, I don't.
Okay. So what's going on here with this human? And from a sales point of view, this is also very useful. So this is a guy who's essentially realized now I can come in here and without even realize, I can go synthesize the key ideas from this article. And what he realized is that essentially in his job, which is he's backer of companies, yeah, he argues that truly understanding people is the most important and most complex skill in hiring and team building. Yeah. Now, this essay by Graham Duncan explores how to better assess and understand people, especially in the context of hiring partnerships and team building. And here are the key ideas, right? What's going on here with this human? Then he's come up with a framework to be able to quickly assess humans, right? Human beings. Now, how does this relate to you, Fred? And why might this be useful? Is because you can come in here and if I do this there, let's just say, yeah, I've got a prompt. Right? Now, this is a skill that they do, but I've written one anyway. And I say, you're a seasoned talent evaluator, applying Graham Duncan's what's going on with us here lens. Using only public information in this profile, produce a concise, high fidelity, but cynical but truthful, that, oh, as in profile or brief, that covers, and then we've got this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go here and I will go about, okay? And I'm going to, while I'm on his about page, type that in and it automatically will come back with an assessment through that framework. So who is this guy? Now imagine you're getting on a cold call or an email and you're writing to this person. This chap, Graham, is a high agency investment talent spotter with a lifelong obsession for understanding what makes people tick, thrives in ambiguous, trust-based environments, but may struggle with rigid hierarchies or slow-moving institutions. Yeah, that gives me information about bias to lean into if I was writing a campaign for him or selling to him. Games being played, infinite game of decoding human potential and building webs of trust to compound capital and talent. Seeks to architect systems where the right people are in the right seats, maximize collective knowledge. Now, are you beginning to see that if this is an accurate assessment, and you could do this for their Twitter feed, for their LinkedIn, yeah, you could give it multiple sources to pull from. It's already now. He talks about this notion in that article of rider versus elephant. Yeah, so the rider is the conscious mind, the elephant is the unconscious. So the rider, what he's pursuing, we could say from a framing tool point of view, is narratives as a thoughtful, system-oriented investor and connector, consciously curating people and ideas to create value. Elephant, deep compulsion to decode social dynamics, avoid being hustled, and maintain autonomy, likely driven by a mix of curiosity, outsider sensitivity, and need for to prove discernment. Yeah. Now, let's just say, Fred, we copy that and we go into ChatGPT, but even with that, and it gives me it's what it thinks its MBTI type is, the Oceans framework, which is another personality assessment. What are his weaknesses, what it thinks, and all of this, right? Gives me a very good one pager. Key questions to ask. What's the biggest mistake you've made in reading someone, and how did you recalibrate? When have you felt most out of place or ineffective, and what did you learn? How do you balance skepticism with openness, should I say, to being surprised? So you can see all of this. Now, I can come down here and I can go, using the following information, I would like you to write a opening email. I'm a copywriter and I'm looking to reach out to Graham to help him in the context of refining and developing his ability to recruit talent for the venture backed organizations that he's hiring for. Right now, I want you to utilize some of what you have discerned from the information I provide to tailor the email to be one that he's most likely to respond to. At this point, I'm simply looking for a 10-minute telephone conversation. Okay? Now, this is part of being a copywriter, i.e., that you do the homework. And now I'm giving the detail here. Okay. Now, one sec here. I want to make sure. Yeah, that bit out. So I'm going to copy this from here and I'm going to paste it in. Ah, there we go. It has pasted. That's fine. It's just different than ChatGPT. So that's the copy from up here. And now it's thinking quick call, talent, storytelling versus for venture teams. Hi, Graham. I've been following your work on decoding human potential and building high trust teams. Your frameworks for seeing the rider and the elephant in candidates resonate deeply with my own approach to narrative and positioning. So it's just dropped in some business terms and it's come up with a different lens that could be of interest for him. I specialize in helping investors and founders sharpen how they communicate their talent bar and attract the right people, not just through job specs, but through nuanced stories that signal what kind of game is really being played. I suspect there's untapped leverage in how your venture-backed organizations articulate their unique water. Now, I don't even know what water means. It's probably something that's pulled up, but we'd have to check. To prospective hires, and I'd love to share a couple of ideas. Would you be open to a 10-minute call to explore this? I think you'll find the perspectives refreshingly practical, and at a minimum, it'll be good to exchange of notes what's actually working in talent storytelling. Yeah, for a first pass that took less than a minute, yeah, that is impressive level of output. Now, that, Fred, is one tool. There's another tool called Composite, and so with tools like Perplexity Comet, which you're currently, as in most people, are on a waiting list for. Yeah. But with Composite, what it will do is it can automatically go, Fred, and do actions in the background. Yeah. So you can give it, if I go here, right? So I'll show you one that I ran earlier. Okay. There. Now I'm just going to get rid of that. And here, I normally use it on my laptop, but here I ran a test and I just said, go to CNN.com and create a table of the top 5 stories of the day. And it went off and it went without me needing to move my mouse. It went off. It opened up in another browser. In this case, I set it up with Brave to work with. And it went off to CNN. It pulled the top 5 stories. It created a ranking. It gave me the headline. It gave me the summary. Yeah. Now that's one example of it essentially being like an employee going off and doing work on my behalf.
And this is composite?
This tool is called Composite. Yeah. So you can give it a task and it'll go off and potentially you could say, I want you to go across the internet and I want you to research and find out information about Graham Duncan. I want you to find me relevant videos and then I want you to go and check out the transcripts and find key ideas that Graham has been really hitting for the last decade. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I walk away and it's able in terms of go and do that. Now you can also go, which I've done and tested because I was trying to get this to do with my CRM because I want to implement the very same thing I was mentioning to you about. I just had the AI or I've written an email or a copywriter's written an email for us. It takes time to go to a member of the team to then go and get the copy, go in, deploy it into the CRM, set up the tagging, set up the sequences and all the rest of that. And so I was wanting to see, can I get Composite to do this for us? Yeah. And so far, on the first pass, it was able to do about 70% of what it needed to. It's I got one little glitch at the moment that I'm working on resolving. Is it the issue with the tool or is it an issue with my CRM system? But are you seeing how these tools now, Fred, you could have a team of 20 people working for you, and it's one human being behind it. I've said before, it will be and is possible that one person could have a seven-figure income just by using the right AI tools and being in the market, especially in a knowledge worker type of environment that you're talking about, whether it's copy or creative ideas.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's a bit daunting. You obviously work these things and have a feel for them, but I'm a novice at all this.
Exactly. And right now you are, and you will be, but so is everyone at the stage. That's the good news, Fred, is that right now most people, and let me just close that puppy down, is that they are. Yeah. But what you can do, as in like with that, you can also go along and say, and what Composite is looking to replace is, and Comet, Perplexity Comet, and others, is you can go and say, here's my credit card information. Go and find out the best efficient flights that get me from, say, Ohio to Washington and get me back on Friday morning at this time. And while you're doing that, go ahead and book those flights as long as the cost of the flight doesn't cost more than $200. And it
Wow.
does. Yeah. Like already, that last step of going and booking, now the tools are in the last month are getting there where they're able to do that automatically. And they will be
Again,
available.
that's composite, not complexity.
Yeah, Perplexity Comet. So Perplexity being Perplexity AI, but they brought out Perplexity Comet. Um, and in this case, let me just have a look at that. Perplexity Comet. But so here you see. Now, if I share that screen with you, here's Perplexity. Browse at the speed of thought. Yeah, and now they've just made this available, and lots of people are saying great thing, a browser connecting the dots between. So there's a lot of competition of products offering tabs, emails, calendars, socials, and that's what I want you to see, Fred, is that it's much easier for you to be able to get stuff done, I mean, than just about any time previously, with no staff and really no extra cost. Worst case, you're paying 20 bucks or whatever it is, yeah, per
Right.
month. But you're able to get an employee that would cost you potentially hundreds of thousands. And here you're saying, summarize all the answers in this AMA. Now, Fred, that could be go and research this Amazon page and give me all the things that people hate about X or love about Y. And then that feeds into you doing your research for copywriting. Yeah. And obviously here you're talking with it. Common is a browser that thinks with you, boosts your focus, streamline your workflow, etc. And you can do browsing, emails, talking, you name it, it does it all. And this is the first version. It's just come out and it's getting stronger all the time. And so the other tool that I use, Composite, in terms of does something very similar. This one right now, I would say actually has a better user interface. Yeah, because it's done in browser. The Comet one, you have to install an extension and it will do it through another one. But the key one here now, and the takeaway in terms of on this, now getting back to yourself, Fred, on that one directly, is thinking, all right, if you have this idea, how might you go about testing it, and how quickly will you test it? Yeah, because it's down to action, action, action. These ideas, someone else, like the one you talked about there, Fred, is potentially someone else will see that idea, run with it, and profit from it.
You mean the $97,
Correct.
messaging master? I don't think we came up with the name messaging mastery.
Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about in this case. That with this, lo and behold, let me just quit this browser. Um, that yeah, someone else potentially could. Now you go and check. Maybe there's others already. Even if there's someone else already offering it, great. If they have an effective business model, you means someone else has made this work economically. Yeah. But the edge that you potentially could bring to this, Fred, and that's what I'm saying. Don't be worried about, oh, I'm not Tom, or I don't know the tech stuff or any of the rest of it, because all of this right now is really, really easy. Yeah. In the sense that it is aimed for people who are just getting started with AI, because just about everybody's just getting started. Yeah. And there are, and if you want further resource, happy to point you in the right direction. But there are lots of platforms that are now coming up that are offering free and or paid training. You get free videos on YouTube that'll show you stuff. Then there are other people who are going, we create a one-stop platform around school. If you go to SKOOL, you know that
Yeah, yeah,
platform, tons of
yeah.
people there doing AI-related stuff. The thing for you though is don't get lost in there's a new shiny object over here. It should be connecting back to how do I get, if it were my email, my CRM system hooked up. I've already reached out previously to our CRM system and said, guys, is there not a way that I can push from my AI directly into you? And to do this, do you not have that capacity yet? And they go, no. And I go, can we please get that implemented? Because it'd make our life a lot easier.
Who was that you're speaking with?
Kartra. Kartra is the platform that we use for our emails. Yeah.
Okay.
But these kinds of things, Fred, they're the ones that I'm saying for you is that if you now step back and go, okay, the most important thing is the bias to action. And so looking at in terms of like the previous actions is that I did a quick calculation here, and of the previous calls, if we talk about fully implemented, about 16% of the time. Yeah. Partially implemented 55% of the time. And not implemented at all, almost 30% of the time. So combined, the ratio of either partial or not completed is 85% of the time. Yeah. Now that's one that really needs to cut. Yeah. Because if you, that's the thing, until there is your own personal double tap like you do in Star Trek and talk to the super smart AI that can do everything for us, until that is the reality, the only way that you get what you want is by doing the actions. And if you have limited finances, meaning you're not in a position to hire other people to do that for you yet, then it means you taking some actions, but working efficiently and thinking about, okay, how could I use an AI tool here? And even if it takes you 3 hours, Fred, to figure out how do you hook up this AI thing to do that, if the net result is just like I showed you, like with Dia, when I signed up in terms of that some time back, and then explored and go, what can this do? Does it make my life better? How is it quicker? How does it differ from using a Firefox or Chrome? Yeah, natively and see what are the benefits. Then, if you spend 3 or 4 hours to get to there, that's time well spent. So long as it now results in, like I just showed you here, if I was writing to Graham and I wanted to figure out him and what he's about, I can do that and get pertinent information in minutes that would normally take a consultant hours or days.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So for me, trying to get together, make as much money as possible, to be honest,
Yeah.
quickly. This is the only solution I have. I mean, the idea of this messaging mastery.
hmm but with that, but even in terms of that, so the other ones from before, and as I'm saying, like one of the actions last week, which you didn't see, was the completed spreadsheet. Yeah,
Yeah.
about that. You've got for the moment, Fred, if you've got something good that works in terms of structure and help, make sure you do not let the squirrel come in and capture your attention, right? I know it's easier in the sense that it feels better not to look at it, right? But once you get it, then you'll be able to dissect and quickly go, that idea doesn't work, that idea doesn't work, that idea has potential, that one I'm going to test. This one, if I can get these conditions to happen, there's definitely going to be a good payday here. Yeah.
So for example, that EHP, that was one of the options. I think that.
Correct. Yes.
So what? I mean, that's a longer sales cycle, but how could I have that working in the background through an AI agent, an AI resource, and keep that going while I'm working these other deals?
Okay. So now here's how you could, but again, with all this, Fred, it will require one, that you do not let yourself accept that you don't know yet how to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's what you've got to, and you've got to say, hey, monkey man, absolute BS. I refuse to accept that. And then you have to commit to booking time on your diary, like Tuesday, 4 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., but specific time. Because if you don't, basically, look, we're all human beings. You're going to get distracted by something else or something is more pressing. And if you don't schedule it, it doesn't become reality. But if you, in terms of willing to, one, say, I'm not going to accept that I don't know this and that I'm aware there are options that could make my life a lot easier and allow me to pursue the EHP thing potentially. Um, and to do it in a very efficient way that actually probably no one yet in your EHP space is actually doing. Yeah. And I'm committing time to getting those steps up and going. Then one of the ways is like, for example, so I'm looking at it here. I've got your spreadsheet open, Fred. Let me just pull that open here from before from our last call. But so if we look at this, and I'm going to directly go to daily cold calls or outbound emails. Yeah. Now, I already saw in the last week, Fred, that there are AI systems that you can go in and give it a script that does the cold calling for you. And it phones up with a human voice and speaks to Tom and go, "Hey, Tom, I'm ringing from XYZ and we're offering this." Yeah. And it even books, Fred. I'll see if I can find you the video. It even books in Google Sheets and in your calendar a slot. So the human being, in this case, if it was phoning me and go, "Hey Tom, I'm ringing up, I'm doing XYZ," and I go, "Great," and you go, "Look, we're offering this and we can do this, and would you be interested?" And we'll do a call. And if the person goes, "Yeah, maybe on Thursday," and they go between 10 and 11. And then you'll hear the call lady in and which is the AI go, "Let me just check the diary for that." And it goes and it checks the diary, and the diary is already booked. Yeah, at that time, and it comes back and says to the end customer, um, actually, that time, unfortunately, we've already got another call with our consultant at that time. How about 11:15 to 12 on Thursday? Does that work for you? And the human being goes, yes. And the AI system then goes, great. We look forward to speaking with you on Thursday, 10:15 to 11 a.m. And on the background, you'll see in this video, if I find it for you, that it automatically updates the Google Calendar of the consultant with the call booked.
So, but that presupposes that you have, so in cold calling, you get the right person for
Hmm.
that company who makes a decision.
Yep, great. And but then you go as part of this qualifying. What you're building in is logic, Fred. So with that one, yes, you would go in terms of cold calling and reaching out, but you may first do a qualification. So you only pass it to the AI when you've qualified that this is the right person, or you have the AI, in this case, if it was a cold call, which call it go, hi Fred, blah, blah, blah. I'm ringing up from so and so on. Before I just want to check, are you the person who deals with X? Yeah. And then they're
So
going,
that's a live call. It's a live call
correct,
though.
that's a live call. And and then you're doing a logic branch. That's all a logic branch in the AI. And the AI will then, if the person goes yes, you'll go great, thank you, and then it goes into its normal context. If the answer is no, then it's either going to be okay, no problem. My information I have here is that it might be this other person. Can you confirm that, or do you know who I should speak to? And either they go, "Fuck you, mate," and get off the phone. In which case, the AI got told F you, and the AI will go, "Thank you for that. I'm really sorry. We didn't click in the way we wanted today. Thank you." Right? Or they go, "Actually, yeah," and then you have the little AI go and see if you can get the person to give you the information. Yeah. Now, that would be pure cold calling. And you can do that at the moment. The biggest issue I see in terms of potentially with the cold calling, and I could see that being a problem in the future, is whether or not you're going to need to announce and that it's an AI calling to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, right now, and with Trump in, legislation is pretty loose about the whole AI thing, but I can see that as more and more both scammers and spammers and genuine salespeople use AI systems and sales teams are looking to reduce the number of sales agents they have, that AI will be used a lot. Yeah. And if people are taking the piss, then somebody's going to pass a law in the state or elsewhere to say, hey, you have to announce this is an AI. And that might still be fine. Yeah, if we all get that. Sorry,
I'm
you're going to
still
say
not clear though. I would make the initial call to find out who the person is, and then I would somehow pass it to the AI.
yeah. So with that one, well, yes, you could make the call, Fred, or you could have an AI, just like I demonstrated there with having it write an email. You could have the AI go and do a qualifying call. So you would say, "Hey AI, your objective is to find out who's the right person for, let's just say, HR recruitment and training at this organization."
Okay.
Okay. And then you say, "I want you to try these 4 or 5 ways. Here's a database, and I just want you to go out and cold call these numbers. And you're going to go through your little script. Yeah. And at the end of that, I will need you to update a Google Sheet, just like you would with a human being, Fred, right? It's the exact same, except this has all been done via rule logic. Yeah. And it will then go and it'll go, hey Tom, I'm ringing up. Are you the person? I go, no. And then it goes, rang. They told us to go screw ourselves, or they said they're not interested. Yeah. Cool. It's tagged and it
So
writes
you
that in.
just say in a Google Sheet versus going to the CRM.
Correct. Now, if the CRM can do that, the reason in terms of Google Sheet is because Google already have made it possible and they have APIs, which is just a way to get the information in, to push the information into Google Sheet. Yeah. But you can also, like with our CRM, we use Zapier and Make, which are two other tools that do the same basic thing. And what they
What was
will
the
do,
second one? Sorry, Zapier I know, but
Make, Make. So
oh,
makes another platform. They're really big, and they're in many ways they're better. Zapier basically, they dominated the market and then they took the piss on the pricing. Yeah, meaning
uh,
they exploit the crap out of people who don't know. Make is another platform that did, like for us, we figured out. I think we were paying like about $150 a month with Zapier, and we went to Make and it cost us $9 for the same result. Yeah, so.
wow.
It's a lot cheaper if you know what you're doing. Yeah, because Zapier were trying to exploit. You do a push to hero, what they call a zap. That's, a dollar. You send the first name, that's another dollar. You send an email address, that's $3 for that lead on top. That kind of thing. But the point with that, Fred, is that with the CRM systems, most of them will have support for Zapier and Make. So you can push to your CRM. Yeah, it's just you now have an extra step of connecting up Zapier or Make to do a zap into your CRM to update the customer record. And normally, how you would do that kind of thing, Fred, is you would have a custom record potentially with the customer. Yeah.
So let's say my CRM startup is HubSpot. It's,
Yes.
it's, 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 do you know anything about that as far as,
Yeah. HubSpot, I know. I haven't used HubSpot, but obviously they've been around a long time. They've been very successful in getting that wedge of the market that they're in. But I'm sure HubSpot, like actually, I'll check while I'm talking to you here. Let me just check this. Uh, does HubSpot CRM support integrations like Zapier or Make for passing information in or getting information out of customer records? And so now, as I'm doing that, it will pull back that info for me while we're talking. But yes, with that, Fred, all you use, excuse me, is one of those tools. Hey presto, it pushes the information in. Now you could have, and I would recommend, like if it was a hot lead, yeah, and that's by the way one of the things they found on like cold calling and stuff, whether it's any kind of service-based business is that if somebody books to make a call to speak to a consultant, the fact that somebody rings them back, the shortness, the margin of mischief being removed to you've just gone on Penelope Times and you've registered to say you're interested in coaching or consulting or whatever. And if
Mhm.
you automatically get a call back from somebody in my team that goes, hey Fred, this is Diane or whoever here. I'm just calling you back. I saw that you recently requested and are interested in consultancy services from NLP Times. And Tom asked me to reach out to understand a little bit more about your business and what you're looking to accomplish. Now, if that happened within 5 minutes or less, or even you just submitted the form and it happened, which by the way, now with an AI, it definitely can happen as quick as that, you're going to be blown away. Yeah. How many businesses are getting that good outreach right away after a customer is hot? Yeah. Now, to
Yeah.
answer the question, HR HubSpot does support integrations with both Zapier and Make, enabling two-way data flows in and out of customer records. And then it gives a whole bunch of other info. So yes, it does. But on the email side, Fred, if we're now coming back to qualifying your as an EHP thing, you could have this set up. Now, this requires a bit of work. But if you are, and with your cold emails, we'll call them, yeah, is you have one AI that goes off and goes to the relevant websites and screens and gets the relevant information. Yeah. Or you use a database like any of the lots of them in the States who are the key people in different organizations, because obviously that has value to cold callers. So you pay a price or you've got access, like I know before, to other stuff, and you would reach out to those companies and you would drop them into an email sequence that actually starts that cold calling prospect. And once it's confirmed that they've got a booking, you're now free to make the call, as in to get on a call and actually look to pass them off to an EHP consultant. Or as part of your email sequence, you make it easy that when they click to do it, they automatically get registered with your affiliate slash EHP consultant. Yeah. And you don't even have to waste any time.
Amazing.
Yeah. So let me ask you on that one. So now I want to bring it back because, as I said before, as Drucker said, there's no point saying I had a great call today. I want to know what you're going to do differently. Yeah. Now, one of the things in terms of actions as we're rounding terms towards the end of this call, one, write, big believe, and I mean like writing as big as this, Fred. Yeah. Get a big yellow post-it note or some kind of bright post-it note and have it at least a few places around the house where you see it, you get up in the morning when you're walking by. And just remind yourself every time you see that, yes. This can be done. There is nothing, Fred, that anyone is doing out there right now as it relates to the stuff that you're interested in that you can't be doing and be very successful at too. As long as you're willing to put in the hours and follow a strategy and use your UDA to make sure am I getting further or closer away. Yeah, all of NLP could be described a game of hot and cold. Am I getting closer, further away? And then taking the necessary actions to get closer. So that's one. And you're going to send me a photo please, of the belief around the house once we've got that set up. The second one is going back and reviewing your Fred analysis sheet and finish that puppy. Do not get distracted. Do not wander somewhere else, but go in there and go, right, I'm going to quickly do like AHP. And if you're going longer sales time, you're going, okay, that's that. Now, is there a way that I could deliver this with relatively low cost? And if you're going down the copywriting route, Fred, as a source of income, and that's what you're going to do, then it's a great chance for you to practice, yeah, to
Yeah.
implement that. Um, and then off in terms of that, like I know previously you talked about this business dev seven-figure builder as another potential one. Like vet that one, but also about the job. Okay, this one that you had the interview for didn't go the way you wanted, but I wouldn't stop having the job on the list. Yeah, i.e., looking at prospecting and looking at job opportunities. Because the one thing about the job side is of all the potential opportunities you're looking at, it is the one that once you're in the door, you're going to be getting paid from the first minute you're in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has great stability and it has immediate income once you land the role.
It's just, I mean, again, the monkey mind is like, you know, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, you know, and so people are typically requiring people to be, butts in seats these days. But
Yeah.
it could be remote, it could be a remote opportunity.
Could be. Yeah. And even like, look, they may go for it. You know how it is. As I used to tell lots of people when they were applying with the top companies looking to get into both the US and here, is you don't get in life what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And that
Mm.
if they are in the context, Fred, of they want somebody good, and one of your criteria is, look, as in you need to be remote or you need to be remote at least, 3 days or 4 days or whatever it is a week. That is
Yeah.
something that once they're happy that you're a fit can be discussed. Yeah. And there may even be a reward or a penalty, depending. Maybe like you're saying, look, I'm okay about taking, if you, I know that the costs are less for you, and having me remote, there's an element of risk. I'm okay initially that I am not going to get paid the exact same as if I'm in the office 5 days a week, if you have any concerns. But that we negotiate after 6 months when I've demonstrated to you that I not just deliver, but that I exceed on the things that you want done in the first 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you make it a win-win. Okay. But the job when I say is just because, Fred, there may be, and it's worked, if there are opportunities out there that you could be a good fit for that give you that level of security, which by the way, also, if you have that recurring income coming in of a salary, Fred, allows you in your free time to focus on doing the AI, doing the consultancy, doing the HP, doing the copywriting.
Yeah. I should have done
Yeah.
that way, but yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
exactly. But here's the thing. You are where you are now. So now it's a question of where you navigate from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on that one, so are you in agreement then, and you up to now definitely delivering this financial analysis, or should I say the Fred analysis sheet, looking at each opportunity?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm up for it.
Because what we need to get from is I've got things to decide to I have decided. Yeah.
Mm.
So with that one, now, when will you deliver?
So let's see. By tonight. Take it
Okay.
tonight.
Okay. So by hook or by crook, Fred, I would like to see from you by tonight that that will be there. Yeah. So when I wake up tomorrow in my inbox, I tell you right now, sir, I'm going to be looking at my inbox at first thing in the morning and I want to see an email from Fed Fox saying, Tom, see attached. Yeah. And a recommendation. And if
Yep.
not, if you give me permission, I'm going to be up your ass if needs be, Fred, about getting this finished. Yeah. But what I
Yep.
want is that in this case, is that you are going, I got this. Like one of these pads and or another one that may show up down the line has got the cash register ringing, Fred. Yeah. And then you're going, the way to get to the cash register is you've got to go decide and then boom, this idea here I'm going to run with. Now, with your $97 potential one and the copywriting idea, is what, if anything, do you want to do with that idea? Are you going to put that, for example, on your list and or are you thinking about, hey, actually I'm seeing some ways from the following the conversation with Tom today that I could rapid prototype and do a test on this to see if it's viable.
Yeah, I was going to move out on it, not today, tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. So now, specifically, what's the next physical action that needs to happen there in order to move out on it?
I have to get my website switched off of Cloudflare and get the named information over to GoDaddy.com.
Okay. Now, that's a different set of actions. That won't help you on the prototyping at this point. Yeah. So what's the next physical action? Because while that may be useful and move stuff across, at this point, we're just looking to validate and test. Is this idea? Yeah, valid. Does it have
Just to make a list of 20 targets to reach out to over the phone.
okay. Yeah, well, that one, but also like the first one is, remember, let's just see. I got this here. Yeah. So, uh, yeah, we can discuss in terms of the future call if you want. I don't want to overwhelm you now. I want to keep you on the task, but there are different kind of phase gates, if you will, gates of assessment that you do on looking at exploring ideas. Yeah. But the first one is maybe I'll throw in the email thread for you some additional questions for you to begin to think about. But first one is, does this idea add genuine value? Yeah. And if so, for whom? Because all ideas to be truly successful, in the sense of and by successful, what I mean is economically successful both for you and for the person who's paying for said service, is they have to add genuine value. And that value is either real or perceived. Yeah. So real might be, Tom, buy this cream, put it on your face 3 times a day, and you look 10 years younger. And let's just say this magic moisturizer does that. That is going to be a real value. Okay. I've given $5. I got the cream. I applied it 3 times, and yes, my skin looks younger, visibly younger. And I can quantify that because I used to have lines under my eyes and now said lines are disappearing. That would be. The other is perceived value, which is that someone gets a benefit that they value, but that many other people don't. Yeah. So for example, right now there's somebody paying today probably $100 or more for a cooking tips or courses. And I'm sure somebody's come out with, Top Chef, here are the 18 ideas that I teach my chefs in all my kitchens that when you use will dramatically reduce the amount of time it takes you to prepare Christmas dinner. Yeah. Now,
Hmm.
for most people, they ain't going to pay 97 bucks for that. But for people who are real foodies and they admire Jamie Oliver, whoever, as the chef of choice, they will pay. And so to them, there is perceived value in having the knowledge. Yeah. So for you, thinking about this now, what are you calling this $97? Is it messaging mastery or what was the initial term?
Yeah, I forget what we called it. I have to go back and look at my notes, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I just call it for now messaging mastery. Yeah. And now
Okay.
the next physical action as it relates to testing this idea. So the test business idea or product, let's say. Okay. And now with that, what do you think is the first action?
Deciding on who the ideal client or customer profile is.
Okay. What do you need to do to decide on who the ideal customer profile? So
I was going to
decide,
ask ChatGPT who would be the ideal,
okay,
avatar.
okay, then talk with ChatGPT because what we want is down to, ah, this is what my brain is going to do. I'm going to have a chat with ChatGPT about who is the ideal target avatar for this product. Oh, sorry, service offering. Let's call it service offering. Yeah. And we want to define in terms of generate, yeah, a detailed customer avatar. Okay, that's one. Yeah. Now, what's the next action that's going to naturally follow? Once you know who the ideal customer avatar is, what would be the next action?
Use that criteria and get a 20 list, 20, 20 a list of 20 to start calling
Okay. Now, will you call them is the question.
in terms of daytime or evening, afternoon.
Yeah, i.e., so, but part of this is, I would say before that, Fred, part of it is, okay, who's the customer? Is this valuable? Right? So, who's the customer avatar? Is it genuinely something valuable? And getting clear about what specifically the offering is, i.e., it's not going to be the whole website, but it might be the homepage or whatever's the most important page that they want optimized or, enhanced.
Mhm.
Two, so you got to get clear in terms of action. That is, get write down. Oops, let's just write this down. Write down what the specific value is for whom and what the initial offering would be for $97. Yeah. Because
Okay.
now if you know who I'm talking to, what is it that's specifically of value for that target audience and what the offer is, now we're getting much closer to be able to be in a position to offer it, right? And so the
Mhm.
next natural conclusion would likely be, if you think about this, Fred, is can I deliver this solution? Yeah, at an effort level that is going to make $97 if that was the revenue worth its time. Yeah. So, and to answer that question, what would be the next physical action? Or is the next physical action? In order for you to know if you can genuinely provide the service and to do it at a way that there's still a reasonable profit.
Well, I'd have to drive it by defining what the outcome of the service is, right?
Yeah. Which you're going to have
So,
done in the previous step because you'll know exactly what the offer is.
okay. So I'm sorry. I guess I lost.
So, yeah, at this point, Fred, we're just thinking about, okay, so we have an idea who the target customer is. We know what's of value and we know what the offer is. The offer, I'm just going to say for now, is for $97. I, with my marketing in terms of copyright expertise, will review the homepage of your website, yeah, and identify the top five things or seven things or whatever it is, so quantifiable, excuse me, that you can say here, these I've delivered on these. Um, that will improve and refresh your marketing message so that you are targeting, speaking directly to the customers or ideal customers that you want to attract for your business. Yeah.
Mhm.
So now, if that was the offering, now you're going, okay, what would it take to deliver that? And one of the things it would take is first you need to know who their ideal target customer is, right?
Okay.
Two is we need to visit their homepage and or get a feel for who is this business and what are they about. Three, what are they selling or at least offering at this point. Then four,
Okay.
if you know in terms of who their ideal customer is, what it is that they're selling and what the company is about, essentially its positioning. Yeah. Then looking at the copy on their website and and figuring out how to enhance their positioning clarity or whatever criteria you're using. Yeah. So you
And then
could
we would do this after the call that when they said would be interested in that.
correct only after they put the money down.
Right. Okay.
Now we're thinking through every step in the delivery of this service. Yeah.
Okay.
So now and afterwards review the call and get this little bit right. As it relates to the points, actually, maybe I can get my AI to pull this out for you to make it a bit easier for you, so we don't delay. But in this case, Fred, it would be we know who the target customer is. we that they're their ideal target customer. We know what they're offering, meaning what is it like if it is trying to get like again, what are we optimizing on this page? Do we want them to telephone? Do we want an email? Do we want them just general brand awareness, right? You could classify what are the things that the client is ideally looking for. Once you've got that, is then what is this company about and what its positioning is. And then would be writing the copy. And in order to write the copy that really hones in on that, that optimizes for the specific outcome, is looking at what their copy is right now and then putting it through your own internal framework. One I could recommend is the copy logic framework. Yeah, is it clear? Is it believable? Is it useful, etc. And they don't need to know that. You don't. You could make reference to that. You could have your own spin version of it. Doesn't really matter too much unless it's going to be influential and help you with the sale. But you're then going. You would then be looking at, okay, I am a business that's doing X. Yeah. As in, like, let's just say I'm a plumbing business, right? And that they're all talking on their plumbing page and they're saying we're plumbers and we do lots of plumbing work and we can plumb this and we can plumb that and we're going. They're all talking about them. Yeah. So now
Mhm.
when you go, okay, and you might use ChatGPT or your own natural looking at it and go, how can we make this clearer? How can we make it more believable? How can we bring out their strengths and positioning, just like you would with your own CV? Yeah. And then finally, what is the work product? Meaning, what do you deliver? So then you'd have to write it, which if you're going to use AI tools, you'll have the AI tools help you generate that. And you might quantify, typically like beforehand, you might say your homepage has 500 words on it or it's 1,200 words. I will write for $97. I will review your messaging, optimize it for the specific marketing goal that you're pursuing right now. I will write up to 800 words for $97 or 500 words it might be, something that's not ridiculous because otherwise you really
Yeah.
are really devaluing in terms of what you're offering. And if they want more, no problem. You're just saying now you're into tier number two on the price point. It's 197 or 297. But and then is delivering that copy back to the client, which in the first instance could be a report, a document, or simply just a Word document. Something ideally better than just an email. Because, if I just send you an email, that's different. But if I give you, here's my templated cover, which you don't need to do for day one, as in right now, to test this idea. But to give it that level of professionalism, you might go, here's the cover, here's a quick bio, there's your website, here's what you're about, here's the target customer, here's what your page looked like beforehand, here's what it looks like now. Yeah.
So I can just send them a Google Doc, right? I can send them the link.
Correct. Yeah, you could share them a Google Doc and have it in terms of the assets there. And then obviously, as in, it might be, and for $97, I will allow two modifications or changes, meaning revisions. If they go, Fred, would it be possible? Could we emphasize more, our family history? We've been in the business of 100 years making widgets X. Sure, I can bring that to the foreground if you want. That's one
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, if you're doing that, write down a specific value and for whom, the initial offering, and then we have do a test would be, if in terms of that, you're going to need to do the test to figure out how long would this actually take,
Hmm.
yeah, to deliver said service offering for a real company, but that you're not being paid for initially because you're just trying to figure out does it work. They don't even know that you're looking at it. How does that sound, Fred?
Sounds good.
Okay, so action, send photo or photos of believe being around the house at least three different locations, big post-it note, complete your analysis sheet, send it back to me by tonight. Make me happy for tomorrow morning, Fred. When I see, I go, yes, we want those metrics moving from 85% partial to not done to 85% done all the freaking time. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you get speed and momentum. Then working on your $97, we're calling it for now messaging mastery. And your first objective, well, your overall objective is to prototype and test this idea. Yeah, that's the objective. That's not something that you're going to prototype and test this business idea for viability. And then within that, the specific actions, because that's a larger objective, is talk with ChatGPT about who the ideal target avatar is for the service offering and generate a detailed customer avatar. Write down what what the specific value is, and for whom, and what the initial offering would be for $97 if that's your target price point, and then do a test to deliver said service offering for a real company so you can quantify in hours and resources how what it takes to deliver this in a per dollar amount and to determine your per dollar ROI. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Fred, you'll either go, Tom, it's brain dead, I could do this. And now imagine if I get the AI thing, I'm off to the races, or nah, this is never going to fly because it's going to be too time or resource intensive. Okay. Now, my only question on that, Fred, is when, and I want you to think when you will deliver this result for yourself, as in those three specific actions we've got. Talk with ChatGPT, the write down and do a test to deliver. So let's open up your diary actually, Fred, and if you're good, if you have the minute or two, let's get it booked
Yeah.
in now.
Yeah. Mm,
So the
let's see.
first action, well, the first one is doing the analysis. So let's block in the when's Fred doing the analysis.
So I'll do it at new time, my time,
Yeah. So block in, and how long do you think it'll take you to do that with the ideas you're currently evaluating?
probably an hour. Is
Okay.
that crazy?
Yeah, if you're, I would easily see that could easily be done in an hour. I would expect that to be easily done in an hour.
Okay.
Okay. Now, is that in the diary?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll refresh on my side. Okay, they're great. I got the analysis. Okay, now then talk with ChatGPT about who your ideal target avatar is um, for this service offering and generate a detailed customer avatar.
I want to do that at 2 o'clock.
Okay, yeah. Then put it in. Cool. She got, yeah, if you work and knock down for an hour, you should easily be able to do that. And again, you can use your deep research with ChatGPT in the background to get it doing some research that you can feed in, to be able to create an even tighter avatar. And then we've got write down what is the specific value. So this is what we call um, value and offer creation. Yeah, so value analysis and offer creation, prototype offer creation.
Um, we'll do that at 4.
Okay. Okay. So then, now that one probably going to need, I'm guessing, uh, 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, make sure turn off your distractions. You're locking on that, close any tabs. Make sure that when you're working, you're definitely working on that. And then I would propose, unless of course you're going to get it tonight, but you're probably better off tomorrow, depending up to you, Fred, is doing a test to deliver said service offering for real companies so you can quantify in hours and resources what it takes to deliver this service
Yeah.
and therefore determine your per dollar ROI. Now, that's likely you're thinking 3 hours. You can block three and see where you are. Um, it depends how prepped you are to ready to rock and roll. And, it's the all mise en place, right?
Yeah. So what are we calling this?
So this final one, as in this is doing to do testing of prototype test of service delivery. And you're going to need at least, you're thinking hypothetically before 3 hours. And chances are it'll probably take you longer, but it might be less. Depends on
I'm
the
I'm
level
not cl I'm
of
not clear on why it's taking so long. Sorry.
well, no, that's cool. So part of this is, in this case, is if you're coming in, like first you're thinking about, okay, I've got to go to this website. I've got to figure out, if we're going back to the questions I said before, is you're thinking about, okay, who is their ideal target customer? That's going to take a bit of research. And right now, if you're not on the
Ah,
client call, you're going to have to go to their about or whatever they've got and try and figure out who are these people targeting. Yeah. And then remember, half the work with copywriting is actually chunking and synthesizing up into a more um, compact, value dense statements and communications.
So if I just target, I don't know, life insurance companies, and there should be very similar, right?
Well, yes and no, because there'll be lots of different types of life insurance. Like, for example, if you go with the category, you could stick at that. But if you want to write great copy or stuff that's going to move the needle in part, or at least, again, think about the dog whistle, is that we want, as in, there's a big difference between life insurance too on their page, especially if they were running ads, is that are you over 55 and without life insurance? Yeah.
Mm.
Are you a man who's over 55 without life insurance and recently divorced? Yeah. That the more specific the criteria, the better the dog whistle, but also the more you're able to target the messaging, the pain points, the desires, the fears, the concerns. Yeah. But if you do a generic one, Fred, of just, a life insurers, even if they're doing that, that is less bland. Now, what you may be saying, and if you're in a sales context, is look, I could do you a generic one. But from what you've told me, there are at least three different avatars that you're targeting. You're targeting women, who are recently married, for example, and are thinking about the family. You're targeting people who are above 65 who don't have life insurance, and you're targeting professionals, men who are ages between 33 and 49. Yeah. Each one of
Mm.
them is potentially a page by itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. As in, you may be rocking true, but what you're looking to remember is in order for this to be viable and valuable, that at the end of it, they're going, we hired Fred Fox for our copywriting. He's an amazing full stack email marketer and copyright, developer, or in this case, writer. Um, and Fred brought a level of clarity and really helped position our brand. And we have been able to directly attribute 100,000 or 500,000 of revenue through the change that Fred Fox has implemented. You get those kinds of testimonials, you ain't going to have a problem convincing others that you can add value. But you'll only get those if you are very precise and targeting specifically who it is that they're after. So with this one, we're talking about, yes, 2 to 3 hours. Potentially, it could be less because then you've still got to write it, compare it, think it through, and all those other things I talked about. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, based on this, Fred, and your timetable, great. Now you're using your diary, you're getting it scheduled in. Shall we call it that you give me an update on all of this, as in what you discovered by end of play tomorrow or after? I don't mind, but
Yeah, tomorrow. By the end of the day tomorrow.
to send update by end of day tomorrow. Okay, now is there anything, Fred, that you're thinking of that is likely going to result in you, quote, um, not doing these actions or getting distracted or not delivering and executing? Because if so, let's get it squared away now.
I guess not. I mean, it's just a matter of sticking to the plan, right? Just
Exactly.
JFDI.
Exactly. JFDI, stick to the plan, do the actions. Okay. And the Believe photo, or well, in this case, send me the photos of Believe around the house. How long will it take for you to do that? Since we'll put that in as if you have the big post-it notes, you can get to it right away, I'd imagine.
I can do it like minutes.
Fine. So I'll say, as in today, when you're giving your updates, you're sending through, send me that by end of day when you're doing
Okay.
it. Attach just a couple of And then look at it, remind yourself, and it is all about action, action, action. Okay, we are done as it relates to this particular task and what we're trying to work on here. Um, Reviewing where we've been, Fred, what has stood out for you from today's session?
The ability of Tom O'Connor.
Mhm. Well, what do you mean? Don't worry about my ability, but what specifically are you referring to there? Yeah,
It's just that you're I mean, what is it we talk about in the program? Bringing your A game all the time. And your A game is, well above my A game. So I have to be leery of, comparing myself to Tom O'Connor and
okay.
then collapsing. Like, how am I ever going to do this? Because Tom can do this in his sleep, but I can't. This is my first time, so that's okay. So I have to make sure I temper all of that because, it's a little bit of, again, it's not on you, it's on me for deflating myself because I'm not at your level. Never,
Well,
not
yeah.
yet.
Yes, exactly. And the key word is yet, Fred. All it is because, believe me, I have gone through the school of hard knocks to acquire, develop the knowledge, develop the skills. And you now, Fred, have a huge shortcut on all of that. You don't need to go through all of that pain, frustration, failures. I could give you example after example of headaches. Yeah, that now you can go, I have an idea. I want to prototype something. I get it up, I'm able to task decompose it just like we did, come up with clarity about what specifically needs to happen, being able to validate is there a desire and need in the market? Economically, could I deliver that service? What would be the profit? And ooh, the cherry on top, we have all this AI stuff that you could plug in once you have vetted the idea to make it far more efficient, quick, and easy for you to be able to deliver said service and increase your profit, yeah, and your profit margin. So, what else has stood out for you? Anything else in terms of today, or that was most salient or valuable?
That I that based on your responses and your guidance, is you believe this is possible.
Yep, I do think it. I definitely think in terms of Fred, there's a potential here. Now, I don't know yet about the market, and that's part of the research stuff that you're going to be looking at. But in the first instance, it could just be delivered. Is it valuable? There are a lot of businesses out there that essentially they write the website once and they walk away and they never think about it and they don't realize how, especially today, it's important to get your messaging right. Yeah. So do I think that, and especially at the price point you're talking, you're not asking for like $10,000 up front to do this, that
Mhm.
it is at a price point that potentially could be, uh, you know, unbelievably good value if you're able to deliver in terms of that, which I know you could. Yeah, it's just a matter of building the systems. Great. And what's a third idea, Fred, that stood out for you or that was valuable for you today?
Um, Once I think all these tools that enable me to be operate at a higher level. Um, but I have to get to know those tools straight away. And also, as I'm want to do, and not get distracted with all the, learning something, meaning brings to bear, not knowing something else, but I don't need to know that something else right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to note that down. Yeah, go. So, yeah, if you do that, Fred, and recognizing you don't need to do it all at once, and all you need, like the tools are tremendously powerful, but you just want one particular application that's hooked up and does it. Yeah, for you. You don't need to know the 10 million other things it could do, which is great because again, you're being effective and efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're using tools and capabilities that other companies or individuals, or if it's the EHP folks in that space, aren't using that gives you a huge advantage. And you can have AI related assets once you've got them set up, doing work for you, making that a lot easier and driving potential revenue and hooking, if it was the HB, your outreach directly to a payment where somebody's signing up and speaking with an EHP consultant and you're getting fantastic. That would be the ideal, where you did the outreach, you did the heavy work of getting the campaigns dialed in, the system process done, and it passes it off to an EHP consultant. They close the deal for you and you get a recurring revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really nice. So great. Happy with today's call overall.
Yes.
Great. Anything we need to change or do different or differently on future calls?
Nope.
Okay. Then if that's the case, sir, all we got to do, Fred, is book in when would you like to do our next call. We can do next week or 2 weeks. It's up to you. We have been on a weekly schedule. That's fine. Um, it's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I guess let's do next week and then just get this solidified.
Okay. Then perfect. We'll be doing number 33 next week. And think as we're heading toward the end of this cycle of calls, Fred, in terms of this one that you initially signed up for. Um, Again, thinking we're coming up on next one is 33. We got 36 in the diary, right? About what is going to be most valuable, what you need, what you want that you haven't yet, as in as it relates to the specific stuff. There's there that we could cover and have. We spent a number of the last calls, as in probably I'm guessing off the top of my head, last 6 or 8 calls on this consultancy training value creation for you. But thinking about, okay, what is it that would be of most benefit of the time that we're going to have going forward that you are getting the most out of the calls? And actually, I would also say, Fred, if you haven't yet taken the time to reflect, build in as part of your things going back to the earlier calls. Yeah. Because there's
Yeah.
absolute gold from what you've shared and what I know others have gone through in terms of when I've exposed them and we talked about some of the things, whether it's frameworks, ideas, that it's just dialing in these few things. And what I want for you right now is where you begin to realize that you do have the capability. Yeah, that capability is latent. It's there. All, as I was saying, if we can just get this moving this way of Fred between thought to action, thought to action, thought to action. Yeah.
What would you say would be the best thing to do? What would be a one word sort of mantra to say? And when I recognize that I'm doing that, what
hmm
would be the one word
hmm
suggestion?
Uh, well, if you could use the same one that Richard Branson used. Yeah, you know what Richard Branson used?
No.
Screw it, let's do it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Branson is a prolific entrepreneur, but he recognized and himself, if you look at his life and history and all the rest of that, is having doubts and questions about either is this going to work, what it is. Now,
Yeah.
he was smart about it, risk, and all entrepreneurs are. It's not about just blindly running into a burning building saying, hey, I'm going to get there and it's all going to be fine. But the mantra and the attitude is screw it, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, thinking back as that great video that I believe you saw him pointing out with Anthony Hopkins about believe. Yeah, that is
As if,
super powerful.
as if,
Yeah, exactly. And hold that. And then, Fred, believe me, you're just working out to what's the next physical action. Yeah. And the mindset, if you will, is being relentlessly solution focused, which you've covered in another call. Building that in where, as you've probably seen, Fred, and that's one of the things that my customers and clients and others have said, is that I don't stop. Yeah. I've built in for myself and I work in terms of with you and with others, but is building in this mindset of being relentlessly solution focused. So few people are. But if you build that
you
by
said so few people are.
yeah, so few people are relentlessly solution focused, Fred. They hear a no, they hear this can't be done, and they go, okay, because, big mommy, big daddy, whether it's government, a politician, a legislator, a regulator, they go, it can't be done. And the people are relentlessly solution focused, just like actually, whether if it's Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk or Richard Branson, they're going, why don't you just get out of my way because I'm going to make this happen. Yeah. And all you are is a blocker to a possibility that I can see, and I'm going to show you is a reality that can be created.
Yeah, and that's what I thought when I first started, in that consulting, I would just plow through it, but I collapsed.
Yeah. But the thing is, now that you recognize that, and there's been a lot of learnings, I think, as I was reflecting on our conversations and what you've shared, Fred, both in your intakes and on our calls, there's a lot of learnings there for you when you begin to recognize about how you have been and are being, but also recognize that that isn't you, meaning that isn't the full picture of who Fred Fox is. And as I've mentioned before, every time we make a decision, every time we act, we're never just doing, we're always becoming. We're always in training. Therefore, the real game, Fred, becomes how you're able to hold a standard for yourself that ensures you are elevating and raising the bar and keeping it high. Yeah, because it's the easiest thing in the world to collapse down and go, it's never going to happen. It takes real, sometimes guts, courage, and sometimes nothing more than just faith. There's nothing there to say that this is going to happen, but you hold that as your North Star. You believe and you go, I'm going to make this happen, and then you get after it. Yeah. And you zig, you zag, you duck, you jump, whatever is necessary. If you bring that kind of commitment, there's very, very few things that really are ever going to stop you that you're going to have to face. Yeah. In the context of business and getting your income and all the rest of that up and going. So looking forward to those. As always, I'll give you the actions and the recording, and I'll aim to get those out in a little bit for you. In the meantime, have an awesome week, Fred. I'm really looking forward to getting up tomorrow and seeing your email coming in with the updates and the analysis, and then tomorrow, the next updates. Believe, stay focused, screw it, let's do it. Okay?
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Phil.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Appreciate it. Bye bye.